You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
So the children could see their way. We just come on this way. aside, we could be ostracized. We don't know who to trust. That's why I say, Lord, please listen to this prayer that comes from the Lord. Please send us another Moses again. Oh, we just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. Time to make them oppress us pay. So the children could see their way. Make them get on their knees and pray. Then I'll be up to judgment day. Oh, just can't make it this way. Please deliver us today. May like the Israelites be with me. Please send us another Moses again. Lord, we just can't make it this way. Yes, deliver us today. Oh, we just can't go on this way. No, we just can't make it this way. Please listen to what I say. Yes, hurry up with judgment day. We just can't make it this way. No, we just can't make it this way. Must we get old and gray? And the children can't see their way. Oh, we just can't make it this way. Oh, we just can't make it this way. We like the Israelites living there. Please send us another Jesus again. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Lord, we just can't go this way. No, we just can't make it this way. No, 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 we just can't go this way.
I say you get up one morning, your elders have something. You don't know how they get it, but you want to use it. But if you ask them old people to get the things what they went through, ask them this any day, and your parents sure to say, black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. Make up your mind, brother, that you're able to get a pulley and jam with the devil. Why? Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. Make up your mind, brother, that you're ready to swim offshore and hold your boat steady. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. So when you hear you get a little something with that dragon, now you keep watching, because I don't tell you already. Black man don't get nothing easy. I say you get up one morning, and oil money running. How it come you don't know, so that it care how the thing go. But if they read about Uriah, they wanna find out the pressure. How we get so much old hell to get a penny from TLL. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to take up your own refinery. Black man have to keep on jamming. For black man to get a little something. Make up your mind to be a magician, to make money out of scrap iron. Black man have to keep on jamming. For black man to get a little something. So when you hear you get a little something, with that eagle eye you keep watching, because I don't tell you already. Black man don't get nothing easy. Say we got up one morning, independence happening, getting the thing come easy. Now they're taking liberty, but if they know about petition, we are to send to England for some woman to tell we in this colony free. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to go to conference in England to get independence in your own land. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. People hold you, humiliate you, turn on and sell you, and then they free you. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. So when you hear you get a little something, with that dragon eye you keep watching, because I don't tell you already. Black man don't get nothing easy. So when a black man gets something, he got to start thinking. You get it there easy. You got to practice economy. From getting licks from the slave master to become the land owner. Brother, it's a terrible journey, packed with plenty brutality. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to rise up, you got to stand up, pick up your mind, you will always stay on top. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to go to conference in England to get independence in your own land. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to take up your own cash money, pay people for your own refinery. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. Make up your mind to be a magician, to make money out of scrap iron. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man.
Keep me as the apple of thine eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wing. O Lord, my Savior. It's so hard to deal with personal struggle. So sad when you feel alone in your trouble. It's real hard when you want to talk to a brother. It's so bad because of how some look at you after. So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and me. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and me. Cover my head. Satan want me dead. Cover my back from human attack. So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. People see you smile, but don't know the hurt that you're feeling. Even as God's child, at times your heart does be bleeding. Where can you go when you're really looking for healing? Who know how to flow when your soul needs some restoring? So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. Cover me home from evils unknown. Cover my feet so I'll never retreat. Oh Lord, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. brother, cover me sister, them who under pressure. Cover, 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 cover the preacher, every church worker, the young believer. Cover, 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 the worship leader and intercessor, every gospel minister. Cover, cover, cover. Jesus alone is the one who have the real answer. The one on the throne is the true and loving Father. He will hold your hand and keep you from going under. He will make you stand and let you know he's a fixer. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover me, man. You know this struggle sometimes. Cover me mouth, that the wrong thing wouldn't come out. Oh Lord, cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Cover me while you fix it. Jesus, cover me. Cover the Christian in the midst of aggression with the power of your right hand. Jesus, cover, cover, cover them helpless children. Jesus, defend them. Send help from heaven. Jesus, cover, cover, cover all them radio stations that blessing the nation. Grant divine protection. Jesus, cover, 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 cover me, cover me, cover me.
Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, the more your life will improve. Anytime you tolerate mediocrity in others, it increases your mediocrity. An important attribute in successful people is their impatience with negative thinking and negative acting people. As you grow, your associates will change. Some of your friends will not want you to go on. They will want you to stay where they are. Friends that don't help you climb will want you to crawl. Your friends will stretch your vision or choke your dream. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you. Consider this. Never receive counsel from unproductive people. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of contributing to the solution, because those who never succeed themselves are always first to tell you how. Not everyone has a right to speak into your life. You are certain to get the worst of the bargain when you exchange ideas with the wrong person. Don't follow anyone who's not going anywhere. With some people you spend an evening. With others, you invest it. Be careful where you stop to inquire for directions along the road of life. Wise is the person who fortifies his life with the right friendships. If you run with wolves, you will learn how to howl. But if you associate with eagles, you will learn how to soar to great heights. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The simple but true fact of life is that you become like those with whom you closely associate, for the good and the bad. Note, be not mistaken. This is applicable to family as well as friends. Yes, do love, appreciate, and be thankful for your family, for they will always be your family, no matter what. Just know that they are human first, and though they are family to you, they may be a friend to someone else and will fit somewhere in the criteria above. In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Never make someone a priority when you are only an option for them. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception. It is a prevailing attitude.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And as you know, we always say, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter what color t-shirt you have on a pink t-shirt, a burgundy t-shirt, a maroon t-shirt. Each and every one is welcome here in the village on WZYE 95.9 FM. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we always say? We originate, we don't imitate, we bring you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Take a listen to our pledge.
Ansam LeBon and Marshall Nesbitt solemnly swear to conduct this radio program in a true, fair, and balanced manner, ensuring that all perspectives are given equal consideration and that the information presented is objective and unbiased. We pledge to provide a platform where diverse voices can be heard, fostering open and constructive dialogue that serves the best interests of our audience and community. Our commitment is to uphold the principles of journalistic integrity and ethical broadcasting throughout the duration of this program. Thank you.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our pledge to you, the people, the fans, the listeners, the naysayers, that we here at WZY will bring you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Let me bring in my pal, the man himself, the young man from any country, the one and only, Uncle Tommy boy. Tommy, how you going?
Good, thanks. And a very good evening to you, and happy after carnival to you.
Yeah,
How was,
yeah.
how was your carnival?
Man, Tommy boy, I was trying to take a wine, but I couldn't take a wine, boy.
What happened?
I
You,
just
was
couldn't
already,
take
you,
a
were
wine.
already, you were already drunk.
But why that Moby, they put something in the Moby, boy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. They put something in the Moby. Something something in the Moby, Tommy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, something happened in the Moby. I know what it was, eh? I'd ask my wife, boy. Oh, wait, what is that, Calypso? Ask your man.
Yeah.
I'd ask my wife. Tommy, but it's interesting, eh? This carnival was very interesting.
Very.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
They all
Yeah.
are.
Eh?
Most carnivals are.
Yeah, but you know, we had Kurt Allen here and we asked him if there was a soca mafia in Trinidad. You understand? I wonder if Kurt Allen go say so now after what happened with Marshall and Bungie, man. What was your take on that?
Well, I always think the whole thing is tainted. I always think it's tainted. I don't want to say the wrong words. I have to be immaculate with my words. But I always say, I've been saying for years, if I had a chance, I'll revise the entire setup in Trinidad, from steel band to calypso to you know what. Anything to do with arts, I'll put it. I'll make such radical changes. They'll wonder what happened.
Tommy, but the people in charge don't want that, man. They want it to stay as this so they could control. Because at the end of the day, Tommy, right? They could actually control the outcome of many of these events.
Manipulate, yeah.
So what they could do, Tommy? Yeah, Tommy, you know, people just want to say, well, I don't think it's the PNM. They just stack the judges, eh? Tommy?
What the discipline of the people have nothing to do with PNM or UNC or PDP or whatever. It's just the people's attitude have to change towards the culture, just as a whole, the attitude. We need attitude adjustments.
Tommy, I'm not disagreeing with you, but Tommy, I watch the soca, the road march judge, one of the road march judge, two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what is in Trinidad, Tommy? Whether you like it or not. If you have on a red t-shirt, they think it's a P&M. If you have on a yellow shirt, you think it's a UNC. And the judge who was talking about Marshall Montano, and she get some information, had on a red t-shirt. So, I mean, perception is reality, especially in Trinidad. Perception is reality. Well, and she may not be a P&M. There's a great possibility she may not be a P&M. But the optics, Tommy, the optics. And then come out to say, come at the end that Marshall win. And it was kind of close to her. So, I mean, Tommy, we gave NCC the solution to that, with respect to taking that out of the hands of people and letting computerized judging system with things attached to it to make the difference. Let me give you an example, Tommy. I would like to know, in the judging in the Calypso Monarch final, after each person sing, do they tally the points and put it somewhere, or do they wait at the end to tally all the points for everybody? You understand what I'm saying?
Claro.
So what it is now, so number one singer come up. All right. All right, I like it. I gave him 10 points for this, 10 points for that. But our next one come, and you say, but wait now, boy. The first one wasn't better than he, Let me go back and change his points and lower his points and give this other one a little higher points. So we gave them the solution, And after every singer, Tommy, you press it in a computer, you put in all the points, and the tabulation gone away from you. You can't go and change nothing after that. Right? That is the way it should be. But we still have human day. I don't know, I'm speculating. Writing down points. They must have a pencil or an eraser, or an erasable pen. And when they could change the scoring.
Yeah, because you see how long it takes before the results are finally given.
Correct is right. It takes all night before you get king and queen of the band. They're going up and down. By the time one king go up and our next queen go down, they could change the points. But I think they like it like that. I think they like it so. I really don't think they want to change it. Right?
I don't think so.
The same thing for the semi-final, the marathon semi-final in the Calypso Fiesta. Right? After everybody sing, right there, you're punching the points, it goes to a computer system, somebody gets it, nobody can change it. But I don't think and the same thing for soca, same thing for the road march. Same thing. But
the thing I say about the road march is that the judging points have to be secretive.
Okay.
That way, they don't manipulate, because I remember clearly playing in a band all carnival, and the music playing, and they're playing this and they're playing that and they're playing that. As soon as they get to the judging point, they change the music to what they want. They manipulate the whole setup. The whole thing is...
Correct is right. Absolutely. These certain bands I playing too, but you ain't hearing that song on the road, boy. As soon as they reach in the savannah to cross the stage, all of that sudden, you're hearing this song. I say, but wait, what happened, boy? You understand? It's like them waiting to get on the stage to play that song. And I mean, it is like, I hear Gypsy in an interview say that the government gave them 145 to 150 million And I go play that thing. I go play that too. And I asked him, Tommy, where is the ROI? Where is the return on investment on $145 million? Eh? So you tell me, Tommy, and we will go to the chat. You tell me. Let me say I get Tuco $10 million this year. $10 million. Right? Tuco have the Calypso Fiesta, right? They have the March car, right? And if Tuco selling the rights to the semi-final, TTD go pay them $250,000, for example. They be just making up a number, right? And all the sponsorship they gain for the Fiesta. Who does count that money? Do they have an audited financial statement after the carnival season that they're supposed to give into the government to show how much money they make? So every year, Tuco come with their hands open, Pancho Bay go come with their hands open. Whoever come with their hands open, and the government gain them 10 million. 10 million, yeah, 10 million. Where is the return on that investment? Where it is?
Wow.
That's the way it does. Do you just spend money and you don't expect no return on the investment? And then you go here them pan players and them people like Brooklyn and them. And well, forget about them PNM people. People like Brooklyn and them, hey, what boy? You trying to kill the culture. You're trying to kill the culture. Them fellas making a little bit of money when carnival comes. That small money. Means stopping nobody from making the money. I want the organization to be accountable.
And do things above board.
I want an audited financial statement as soon as the carnival season done. I mean, you could cook it, cook it how you want. Cook it, that is all right. But let me get a statement. I mean, what's wrong with that? Is that so bad? Anyway, let me go to the chat. Them people must be cussing me. You always stay in America with all your kind of American behavior. Mr. Intellectual was first in. Blessed afternoon, gentlemen. Uncle T, pro on all villagers. Hope you all had a blessed, productive day after all the madness. Of course, you don't expect anything more from Slimy. More lies. Yeah. Slimy, how was your carnival, way? I wonder if Slimy in Trinidad or you outside of Trinidad. Shanika, welcome. Good evening, Wall Street and Tommy and all the villagers. Blessing. Patricia, welcome. A pleasant evening to Professor Wall Street and Uncle Tommy and all the villagers in the village. Have a magnificent evening and be safe out there. Yeah, carnival was safe too bad, boy. Tommy, just imagine if we was to have all them police outside for carnival like we have doing all throughout the year. Maybe Trinidad will be a much safer place. Absolutely. Or you know what, Tommy? We should have a carnival every month.
Something, whatever, as long as it's safety.
What do you think? Maybe you should have a carnival every month. What do you think about that? Every month we have a carnival in Trinidad. Because like when carnival come, nothing. I mean, I know we had a few incidents, but like much don't happen, boy. The bandits and them just pat down too.
Yeah, they're fetting.
Yeah, everybody partying, you know, developing. Scientists say
they're partying, they're partying.
Here you go, the partying. Correct is right. Slimy says developing. Scientists say cockroach milk is 4 times more nutritious than cow milk and can be used as a new superfood for millennials and Gen Z. Wait? Nah. Tommy, nah. Let me fact check that.
Who said that, Slimy?
Yeah. Let me see that, Tommy. Nah, let me see that, boy. Let me see if that is true. Is cockroach milk 4 times more nutritious? Cockroaches make milk? I think he's making joke. I feel he making joke.
I gotta find out where he's going with this.
Yeah, I think he's making joke.
Let's peep Slimy. Let's see who he really is.
Yeah. It's cockroach milk 4 times more nutritious than cow's milk. So let me see if Slimy trying to give you a slime with an E. We listen to this, Tommy. Boy, slimy onto some slimy. Go and get some cockroach milk, eh? Tommy, here it is. Yes, cockroach milk have been found to be highly nutritious, with studies suggesting it contains up to 4 times more protein than cow milk and cow's milk. Specifically, a 2016 study published in the journal International Union of crystallography found that the milk-like protein crystals produced by the Pacific beetle cockroach are packed with essential amino acids, lipids, and sugars, making them a complete food source. However, while it is highly nutritious, cockroach milk is not currently mass-produced or widely available for human consumption. Slimy, boy, you just slimy.
You onto something?
Slimy onto something. Slimy, boy, you know, produce Slimy's cockroach milk, boy. We have a new brand of milk in Trinidad. Slimy's cockroach milk. Slimy onto something, boy. Way slimy, boy. Alert. You're developing and you have alert now. AG Pam Bondi says Epstein files will now be redacted due to national security concerns. All right. What boy? Slimy's cockroach milk earlier. KFC inside. KFC.
Good night, man. Good night. What's up with Tommy, man?
What's happening, man? How was your carnival?
That carnival was the worst, man. That could ever see this carnival, man.
Eh?
And after the Masquerade show, man, I say I wasn't going nowhere, man. But after 10, so I said I'm going to go down in Chicago. So I catch 11 o'clock bus. So go down in town, man. When I went down in Chicago, I see the bus waiting. So I go in the bus. I woman alone in the bus. Driver wait at the while and pull off and go on. When I reach in the city like a ghost town, man.
Huh?
But yeah, the carnival crash. But I jump around thing and there. I wait for a truck. Jump past by the greens there. You see more CPAP workers on the streets and security workers. The kill carnival boy start washing by for the people from along the bridge there, boy. And then wait up at 3-4 before you see a banana.
Huh?
Tell them, boy.
I the Piccadilly Greens? I the Greens?
Yeah. Remember long time you seen trucks backing up and
yeah,
big massive crowd?
I remember that, man.
The promenade there. You only seen CPAP workers around the promenade.
Yeah, them banning them going wrong by the Greens again, boy.
I find the activity was scanty in a lot of cases.
I know we're going with them for them down on that side down there. I was touch about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You looked at it on television?
Yeah.
You find that it didn't have as much activity.
When you say activity, you mean the bands?
Yeah, a lot of the bands was scanty.
Well, you know, the big bands take over, you know, the Tribe and Johnny and Caro and them big bands and them, the Lost Tribe and all of them. Them bands and them, most of the people playing with them bands now. I don't know, did they have Legacy this year? Big Mike and them wasn't there this year, right?
I didn't notice them.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still there. Yeah. Back to the chat. Busy says, good day, Uncle Tommy on Wall Street, all listeners locked on Share the Live. Today, words of wisdom, your destiny is with you. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. Today's menu, dal rice, curry billy, and pineapple drink. Okay, what is curry billy?
I want to think Billy's Billy Goat. I don't know.
Oh, your curry a billy goat? You put the goat in a drum or what?
I don't know. Curry Billy.
Curry Billy.
Billy's Billy Goat.
Yeah, what is curry billy?
Maybe something else.
I know what that is now. Good evening, Professor Wall Street and Uncle Tommy and all sensible, forward-thinking WZYU followers. Slimy, look, here comes Slimy. Slimy says, breaking rumors are swollen that former President Obama and Michelle Obama are planning to file for divorce. Okay. All right.
That maybe so.
Okay. Caribbean Soul, good night. Hey, Tommy, I want to thank Caribbean Soul publicly. Caribbean Soul really look out when we was doing the streaming of Carnival, and he really look out for us, man. Because we had some difficulties. He really, Caribbean Soul, thank you very kindly, man. Yeah, he's a real trooper. He's a WZYE TV trooper. A real trooper, man. I ain't lying. Volsang was there too. Slimy was there too. Yeah. Nadira was there. Who else was there, boy? I ain't seen none of them PNM people though. No. Slimy. Oh, yeah. Slimy was representing. Yeah. Gordon Joseph says, good evening to the village. So the bus will be passing again. Please don't jump in any bus. Some drivers just lie real bad to get passengers. Okay. He already gone south already. And we don't in north, he gone south long time. Dinesh D, welcome. Hamraj, welcome. Welcome to you. Who have more corn feed fall? Yeah. Question for the day. Why did Epstein files have national security implications? Gordon Joseph sending you a message. Thanks, Tommy, is the people. Call Anderson, let us get some real-time news on what's happening inside Beatam. Was something going on in Beatam? Hey, Anderson, what's going on in Beatam? The PNM government is enshrined in a quagmire of lies, deception. The government has failed miserably, but they will kill you with nothing but false narrative about their last 9 years. I go play that one too. I hear Short Young talking about something. Hemrat said only the large band was fairly judged. Other competitions was stiff. Volsang, welcome. Cool Runner, welcome. Good night, Wall Street and Tommy and chat. Mickey the Ghost Rider. How can a man so manipulate so many people? Is Rowley some kind of witch doctor? How can the fool control the whole membership of this disdain for the PNM? Can you cowards make a statement? Okay. Rennie, welcome, boy. Good night, brothers and sisters. Love in the house. Oh, God. Caribbean says slimy outside Trinidad. He living in the mangroves. Cool Runner, welcome. Rennie said, that is the day, boy. Cockroach milk on the grocery shelf. Yeah, boy. Slimy's cockroach, boy. Slimy's cockroach milk, yes. Anderson, what going on in the Beatam, boy? Something going on? Good night. Just Georgia, welcome. Good night, Wall Street. Not will come out of the commissioner police report and I have to pay her a lot of money. Okay. Just see a video coming there. Who's that video? Slimy, everything I say is so. Not when you say things about PNM, Slimy. Nah. Mickey says life is short. Time is fast with no replay, no rewind. Enjoy every moment as it unfolds. Correct is right. Riaz, welcome. Yeah, KFC.
Yeah, hi, good night. I give Mr. Washington come from and all everywhere and the really couldn't be done.
Yeah.
Mr. Washington, the bitam, nothing that the bitam is long or that, and the race back to what I'm going to bitam there is Silats. Silats one right now.
Or Silats.
Yeah,
it's a Silats. Yeah.
Yeah, first Silats and second Silats.
What going on there?
I said, remember the two bosses and them pass away, you know.
Right.
I had a little pull it down to the youth men there. That's causing bacchanal. We see the on the news, the woman went down by the station down there, and the woman go and deal with the health in the community there. Right, that love me and that police down there trying to pull on the piece, and a man get feel beat out and think, and all bacchanal thing going on down there right now.
Oh.
And there's a river part right in Mr. Washington, right by the light all down there, you know.
Yeah.
They're too small for them to be one right in one another.
But what are they warring for, though? What are they warring for?
Mr. Washington, there's greed, jealousy, bad mind, and hate, and all kind of thing. And that war is decade war. People butchering and pulling mind and all kind of thing.
Where young brother from? Where young brother from?
Young brother from over my side, but somebody lies by the fish market, eh?
Yeah.
The central market, by the police station, there. Come over my side over there.
Oh, okay.
Back by the fish market side of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Washington, I was telling you, when I was thinking I went down in Shogun, after 10, I started to rush the pledge 11 o'clock bus to go down in town.
Yeah.
When I go down there, I see the bus waiting. It wait a while, pull off after 11 o'clock. Nobody on the bus, me and a woman run on the bus. Bus running, 24 every half an hour seeing bus running. And a normal work day and a school day, you ain't seeing bus running, so every 4 hours that they wait for, every 4 hours, they arrive in 4 hours to get a bus. So I tell the bus driver, bus running, so I'm on to the work base at school bus in running. I $4 from the to borders. And now they charge $6 to the Monday and Tuesday for the carnival season. But send this PNM government that in power, Mr. Washington, that take with the carnival from poor people and to all inclusive ban, and they go down by so-called Jones and thing in there, people and make no money at all for this carnival. So the vendor going around Piccadilly Greens, downtown, it's nothing they make. Because I bet you put a little body. If you sell about 5 cases of beer, you sell plenty. So take the carnival from poor people, give them 1% the carnival. And no money make it. I see the boy coming, but like all the PNM judges, boy, still coming second, boy.
Yeah. Why they couldn't stop him?
Nah, they couldn't stop him. But the young senator. He's a man that sings some good so too, eh?
Yeah, his song was a good song.
He won fair and square.
Eh?
He won fair and square.
Yeah, his song was a good song. I ain't gonna lie. It was a good song.
You know, Francis?
Yeah.
I say congratulations to young brother to he come in the first three.
Yeah, man. You was very good. Excellent.
Yeah. But he was better in Skinner Park than on final night. You know that? You realize that?
Who's that, young brother?
Yeah.
But you see Marshall, let's kill him with?
Yeah.
You see presentation and all kind of thing, and there's more money put out.
Yeah, but he didn't win this time.
He fired like Super Blue, all kind of thing.
Yeah, but he didn't win.
Yeah, his actual performance wasn't as good as last year.
Nah,
Well, performance wasn't so good. But I want to bring back the carnival in the East West crowd and the carnival young there. People make money, so they're killing the culture. All right, what should I put in the body Savannah? As that one truck pass, I gone. I come home one time, boy. I said not me, because I said, come on, start on to because bang and still, I said, what we said. The next side, boy, now, boy. So I don't know, I die back and all this one. I drop out that time, really. So right now, your attention going on right now. I'm going to say, that's some video going on right now.
Right, bless.
Yeah.
So, folks, let's listen to a message from the opposition leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Don't forget, coming up at the top of the hour, we have the Deputy Political Leader of Hope, Mrs. Karen Nunes, Tesheira, joining us.
A message from opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Investigate Minister of Finance Colum Imbert, now that Auditor General probe dropped. Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar says now that the probe into the Auditor General's role in the revenue understatement of the public accounts has been discontinued. Finance Minister Colum Imbert should be investigated. The incident occurred with the fiscal 2023 public accounts. It was initially reported as an understated government revenue figure of $3.4 billion, but was later revised to $2.6 billion. Auditor General Jaywanti Ramdas refused to accept the amended accounts, arguing her audit of the original submission was complete. The government launched an investigation, but it was discontinued on February 28th after a Privy Council ruling and completion of an independent inquiry. In a press release on February 28th, Persad-Bissessar said the government's defeat will forever remain a blot on our democracy. Imbert's attempts to intimidate, harass, and bully Auditor General Jaywanti Ramdas backfired spectacularly when Ms. Ramdas decided to stand up and defend herself and the Constitution from the government's unwarranted political attack. She said the Privy Council hearing was dramatic and that British law lords grilled the government's lawyers. This should never have been the subject of investigation by the government because she did absolutely nothing wrong. It was nothing but a calculated assault on her independent office to try to get her to bow to his demands and dictates in his usual arrogant manner. Now, she said, the Prime Minister and Energy Minister Stuart Young should investigate Imbert's conduct and demand he answer where the missing money has gone. The half-baked investigative report the government says it received was a ridiculous waste of taxpayers' money. As noted by the Privy Council, Mr. Imbert himself drafted the terms of reference, handpicked the investigators, and ordered them to report to him. In circumstances where Mr. Imbert's conduct and integrity have been called into question, this reeks of bias and political smartmanism. It's a classic case of playing smart with foolishness. She questioned why the issue went all the way to the Privy Council, which required legal fees, airfare costs, and hotel accommodation expenses. That money could have been used for the public's benefit to patch potholes and buy hospital beds and medication. She said the UNC is happy the nightmare is over for Ramdas, but Imbert and Attorney General Reginald Armour, Senior Counsel, should not be let off the hook. There is far more in the political mortar than just the pestle. We demand answers from the government on whether Imbert's conduct will be the subject of an independent investigation and the amount of money wasted on this matter.
You know, Tommy, it's interesting, eh? I don't understand how Imbert could actually get away with something like that. I mean,
you surprised?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I'm not.
You not?
Nope.
But Tommy, what about law and order? I mean, the Privy Council said something, and you had to drop the case. That means to say that there is something went on there that needs to be investigated.
I fully agree. I agree. It needs to be investigated thoroughly.
Something wrong, man. Something wrong. Yeah, something had to be wrong. Because I don't get that. Let's take this one.
I'm not surprised at the way things are going because we realize it's bully politics.
It's bully politics?
That's all it is.
So Tommy, so you are saying that where's the law and order though?
What law and which order?
Who can investigate? Can the TTPS investigate Colin Booth? Who has to start an investigation?
You realize that, and you have recognized too that every so-called independent agency has been compromised.
No, I understand that. But Who's investigating who?
Nobody's investigated anybody. That's why the perception index is what the perception index is what it is when it comes to.
Tommy, before we go, I want people to listen to this. This is from NCC chairman Winston Gypsy Peters talking to Darian Marcel. And I'm disappointed in Darian Marcel because anyway, let me don't say that. I want you guys to listen to this. Huh?
Yep. Watch your words.
Be impeccable with my words. Be impeccable. I want you guys to listen to this before we go for the break. $145 million was spent. And I want to know, what is the return on investment? Take a listen to this.
And my final question to you on this issue today, having come out of what we consider to be a successful Carnival 2025, what are you, in terms of the investment by the state? And many people don't understand what the role of NCC is. The state's investment into Carnival and the revenue generated by it. Tell us a bit about that so people can have a clearer picture of why the government invests and give NCC that responsibility to distribute and manage those resources.
Carnival is a socio-economic event, a socio-economic happening, which the government sponsor. In this case, we got $150 million, or there about 145, whatever, $million that we had to spend on Carnival.
Tommy, you hear that, right?
Yep.
145, 150, whatever, a small thing, whatever. Wherever we get. Right? But where's the return on the investment of $145 million, Tommy? Now, I'm not saying that the government shouldn't spend that money, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that where is the return on investment? The organization that are receiving these subventions, how are you holding them accountable for them to produce audited financial statement after the carnival season is finished? How about that?
Revenue stream that we are going to get on that outstrip any other investment that the government could make in such a short time to make whatever profit that we are making in this country, quite apart from which the socio aspect of Carnival cannot be monetized. If you would ask me, I would say that we would have to put more money into Carnival if we really want to promote it the way it's supposed to be promoted, because what we do is we promote Carnival on a shoestring budget, which we should be able to do even better. But we have to work with what we have until we could do better. But at the end of the day, I am saying that the money that is spent on Carnival is one of the best investments that anybody can make. As a businessman, I wish that I could have owned Carnival. I would have spent more money on it, and I'm sure that would have made 10,000 times more money than I spent, as indeed the country is making. So we have to understand, and we have to kind of divorce people's mind from what has been inculcated in us from since we were born. Pan is no good. Calypso is no good. All these things. Carnival is a hooliganistic thing. So that is everything. Why don't we have foolish people today who talk about heaven and condemn us living on earth, right? Even though God gave us all the talent to do it, and we continue to do it, they still call it devil thing, even though it helps pay their bills. It helps send their children to school and build police stations and build all the things that we have. Carnival do that. They don't understand that. So they're bad talking, but I empathize with those people in a lot of ways, Darian, because we have been trained to hate ourselves. It is not something that came natural. It is something that we have been trained to do. And now we are forcing ourselves to divorce ourselves from it. And we are retraining ourselves to finally understand that Carnival is not just a wine and jam. Yes, it is a show that we put on to the world to make money for our country.
Thank you so very much, Chairman. Thanks.
So, folks, we're going to go for that break. We're going to take that break now. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy. Tommy, let me take this call because this is, hold on, let me take this call. Hold a minute. Let me take this call here.
Keep me as the apple of thine eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wing. O Lord, my Savior. It's so hard to deal with personal struggle. So sad when you feel alone in your trouble. It's real hard when you want to talk to a brother. It's so bad because of how some look at you after. So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. Cover my head. Satan want me dead. Cover my head from human attack. So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Jesus, come and be. People see you smile, but don't hold the hurt that you're feeling. Even as God's child, at times your heart does be bleeding. Where can you go when you're really looking for healing? Who know how to flow when your soul needs some restoring? So Jesus, come and be while you fix it. Come and be while you fix it.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Yeah, this is WZYE 95.9 FM. And you're in the village with us here on Thursday evening as we stand by for Sister Karen Nunes, Tesheira. Wall Street has stepped away. It seems we played another selection because it's the top of the hour. You back, Anselm?
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm back. There we go. Sorry about that. I was to just make sure that Karen could get in there. You hearing me? Tommy, you hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but we're not hearing Karen. I could see Karen talking, but we're not hearing her.
No. I didn't bring Sheena's yet. I didn't bring her in as yet.
Okay.
All right. Let me bring her in now. Karen, raise up your camera a little bit. Raise it up a little bit. There we go. A little up. Yeah. All right. Right there is good. Right there is good. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, folks. Let's bring in our guest, Mrs. Karen Nunes Tesheira. Karen, how are you?
I am. What would you like to say? Splendiferous?
Yeah. Splendiferous.
Good evening, Karen.
Good evening, Miss Marshall Nisbet. That is your Tom E. is your nickname or your name you're known by?
That's my home name. You know, everybody have a home name. Tommy.
Oh, so you're letting us use your home name. Okay, Tommy.
So, Karen, how was the carnival?
Well, I mean, for me, it was quiet, and that's by choice. But I am very much a support of our culture in all its aspects, and definitely carnival. My husband was, oh my God, I mean, a steel band man. I mean, one year I didn't even know this because we moved to the East. So he's playing with Forzata, and he made it into a community band, and he even did work with Clive Panton and this gentleman who also passed away. You might have known him. And anyway, so he with CLEICO's help, he reconfigured it into a real community band. But 1 year he played with Starlift, with Katali All Stars, and Forzata. So I have been, and of course his daughter played the year after he passed away, and the band came first in the medium side. So my own personal carnival was quiet, but I think the Trinidad did have a bumper carnival. My daughter came for carnival, as did some of her friends and family, and I've heard nothing but positives about the carnival.
But Karen, why can't the government and the TTPS have a safe Trinidad and Tobago, like how they just have like the whole police force and the whole army, the regiment, the Coast Guard, or everything on the streets? Why can't it be the same during non-carnival in Trinidad and Tobago? Or do we need to have a carnival every month for Trinidad to become safe again?
Well, I don't think we could keep it up, because I think all leave is suspended during that period. So no one, whether military, defense, or police service, can take leave during that period, and you can't maintain that level of security. And also, of course, it was a state of emergency. We seem to forget, and a state of emergency is a serious suspension of our constitutional rights, especially under Section 4 and 5. And whilst I gave a lot of kudos for the carnival and clearly people enjoy themselves, obviously it is unfortunate that with all of the precautions they took, which they normally take every year, on top of which they had the state of emergency, which gives them tremendous powers of arrest and detention, that you still had 5 murders during that period. And that is nothing to... some of them appear to be more of a domestic nature. When I say domestic, it was not gang related, but some of it was. So it is a testament to the level of crime that is besieging our country, that even with the level of turnout as required during the carnival, Mondays and Tuesdays during that period, the army, everybody's out, even with that, and you back it up with a state of emergency where your rights are suspended, to still have 5 murders within a few days says a lot about the state of crime in our country. And clearly we cannot have a continuous state of emergency. That could never be good for foreign direct investment, that can never be good for developing business opportunities, and never be good for diversifying our economy, because without a safe environment, many persons will not come here, could either not come here or will not invest in the country. So it's not feasible.
So as you went to foreign direct investment, what from your point of view, Karen, where does the government of Trinidad and Tobago stand with respect to the Dragon gas deal?
Well, I wouldn't just say I'll be Dragon, because I told you when we had spoken that it's the whole energy sector, and of course the minister in waiting, which is another topic we were going to discuss also. The Prime Minister in waiting, who is the Minister of Energy since I think 2021. Prior to that, he was Minister of National Security and Minister of everything and anything, some people may say. But in any event, the energy sector is the major revenue source for our country, to finance our various ministries and our various projects and policies and ministries. And so the fact that we are in the situation we are in today is because of that reliance and continued reliance on energy. And when I say energy, natural gas, as well as the refinery, which was closed down there. I don't know what that I wanted to speak about. And the collapse of our crude oil production, which I have some of the figures here, but the one I think would make the most, giving the most impact, would be 1960. We were producing 140,000 barrels, over 140,000 barrels per day. 1978, I think I was a bumper year, 234,000. In 2008, it went down to 114,000. But where it started to slip and continue a slide is 2019. That's at least 6 years now, 58,000. 2023, 49,000. So in terms of our crude oil production, Certainly, we do not have that production there, and we have not had it for many, many years. But I think the question that you're asking me goes beyond Dragon Field. I'd like to start with the 4 issues. But if I could start with, we'll start with Dragon Field. And I will say that I have been saying this for at least a year and a half on this show, and perhaps, but definitely on another program that I go on. And I have been saying, and all of a sudden everybody like their light bulb went off and now they're talking, but I have been saying that the 30-year lease that the Venezuelan government granted to Trinidad and Tobago, while a lot of hoopla and congratulations were made in relation to that, there is a payment of in cash for the leasing of that, of a granting of that lease. But the issue is not the 30-year lease. The issue is OFAC, the Office of Fixed Assets Control, which is what the United States uses sanctions as a form of compliance of countries that do not fall out of favor with them. And that has always been a strategy of the United States. So OFAC was the issue. And in relation to OFAC, Shell, which is the major investor, I think 80% investor, you have NGC as an investor. Dragonfield has, I think, I don't want to get it wrong, I think 4.3 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. But if you notice, and this is what I've been saying all along, the government was able, firstly, under Biden regime, they got a general license to be able to start working the exploration of the natural gas in the Dragonfield, which is totally located in Venezuelan waters. That was granted in February 2022, but these were the conditions. Biden said you could not pay cash for the natural gas. You had to pay in kind. Well, it caused a great consternation within the CARICOM countries. And in October of the same year, 2023, Biden then gave a license, a general license, 44A, amended the original license, and said, only for 2 years. What can you do in 2 years? Ending on the 31st of October of this year. And said, okay, you can pay fiat, you can pay US currency, any currency for the natural gas that is obtained from the Dragonfield waters. Because remember, we have the kilometers is not many kilometers, so the gas pipeline is not a very long gas pipeline for it to reach into Trinidad waters. In any event, the point I'm making is it's just said 2 years. And what was important and never happened and has not happened and is unlikely to happen, especially now, is that Shell, the major investor, had not made a final investment decision. So without Shell making a final investment decision, all this talk about Trump and as if Trump is caused the problem now, it was there all along, and I spoke about it all along. And he gave this amendment just for 2 years. What can he do in 2 years? And Shell asked, and I said this before, for 15 years, because Shell shareholders are not going to make an investment, which is billions of dollars of investment, in something where there's no certainty, the level of uncertainty. And the reason is the Venezuela-American relationship. It's not us. We're just a casualty of the whole situation. And America is hell-bent on destroying and bringing down Maduro's government. I am not taking a position yea or nay, but I'm just telling you they are hell-bent. They tried everything, maximum pressure. They said Guaido was the president. They did everything they possibly could, even though United Nations never recognized that president. And they've done everything they could to bring down Maduro. And then when Biden said, okay, I will allow the amendment so that you can pay in cash, in currency, because what the United States has done is banned $90 billion of Venezuelan belonging to Venezuela, in which are in banks in abroad, and they cannot access it. So they said, okay, we'll let you pay in cash. For 2 years, then nothing could really be happening. And it can't, because Shell would not make the final investment decision, and it's unlikely they will. But what he said is, as a condition for continuing or considering continuing that sort of a relationship, Venezuela must have free and fair elections. Well, two things happened. The Maria Machado, who was the opposition choice, the Supreme Court, the courts in Supreme Court of Venezuela, just like the United States Supreme Court, it is loaded with Republican politicians. Let's not pretend. The people who they put on the Supreme Court in the United States, there's a fight how many Republicans and how many Democrats you can have on the Supreme Court. Just like that. So they're the same problem, you know. I mean, so when they said that Machado could not participate in the election, they went all the way to the Supreme Court. They said because she had committed treason, because she had sided with Guaido, and she was banned. The other thing that they did too was after they had their elections in January, I believe, which is for 6 years, and Maduro was said to have won, and then there was always talk about he didn't really win. They went all the way to the Supreme Court, which is Maduro's people, and they said that's the highest court. And they said, yes, he won. So what is America going to do about that? If they say it's not free and fair, maybe people will say the January 6th uprising wasn't free and fair. Maybe the Georgia machines that were a lot of fraud and they were being sued for billions of dollars. Maybe people will say it's not free or fair. Maybe people will say their Supreme Court is not free and fair because it's loaded with politically minded judges. So at the end of the day, Biden had already taken up. All this happened before Trump. All of this happened before Trump. So I don't know what they're talking about. And on top of that, just to let people know, right? Because they don't, if you go to I haven't gone back to the Ministry of Energy website within the last 2 or 3 weeks. But the last time I went on, they had no information about the Dragon Field on the website, right? They had no information on the Dragon Field deal. But the fact of the matter is that the reality is that when they actually are able to access the natural gas, which would take about 2 years from the date on which they start working, which they have not started at all, they anticipate to get 175 million. Trinidad needs 1.6 billion cubic feet of gas per day because that is the level of the shortfall. We need 4.1, optimally 4.7, according to your own Prime Minister in September 2022. But we have only producing 2.4. So we have a huge shortfall. So even the Dragon Field, when it comes on stream, they would initially be only providing 175 million or 157 million cubic feet per day. They would reach up to 350, but guess what will happen? 300 is allocated to the LNG, which is BPTT and Shell. So it's like sending cocoa out of the country. And 50 million only to the downstream industry, which is where the Trinidad and Tobago government will make the most revenue take. That is reality. So what I am saying, and I want to be fair, natural gas prices are trading much higher these days than the budget price. Budget price was $3. Up to today, I checked, it was 4 something because of the weather and the climate change and all that thing. But the point is, it's been trading over the $3 mark and gone over the $4 mark. So even though our production isn't there because of the revenue take that we will get from the increased price of natural gas, and crude oil is about what the minister had said it was, although I saw it 69.70, but it's about what he said it was going to be. But it just tells you about the volatility of the energy sector and the vulnerability we have as a nation to continue to rely on energy as our revenue source, because we are not oil price makers, we are oil price takers, and we simply do not have the production. And the minister actually had to say, because Marco Rubio came out and said, Well, you know, they say a lot of things, but sometimes they already act on it. He said all the arrangements that were made under Biden-led administration to grant, I've written it down, to grant all these licenses, they are not going to be, he didn't say not going to be honored, but they are not going to be given effect to. So you have your Minister of Energy and say now he's unsure about the Dragonfield situation. He should have been unsure for the last year and a half when he couldn't get Shell to sign a final investment decision. And he knew that. And in any event, even if they got the Dragonfield deal, it couldn't start to make up for the shortfall. They sold Dragonfield as if Dragonfield was going to be the savior, which is what the Prime Minister said, you know. The Prime Minister actually said that Dragonfield was going to save Trinidad. And that cannot be true, because it is not giving you enough production. Just a set of nonsense they tell the people. And now they're talking with Biden, with Trump. Well, Trump worse than Biden. And he's after Venezuela. And we are a casualty of that. And if you I just want to make one other point in relation to that. How you know that is the Lauren Manatee gas field, which straddles both Venezuelan waters and Trinidad waters. Most of it is in their waters, 7.2 trillion, or how much, more than that. It's a huge gas field. And about 2 point something is in our gas field. Shell signed off the final investment decision because the Manatee side was separated from the Lawrence side, and it is in our waters. The United States has no problem with that. It's not in Venezuela, not benefiting from that. But the Dragonfield is what they did not want. And I do not know how the Minister of Energy could have gone for 2 years and making the country believe that 30-year lease that Venezuela granted them was what was right. That's not it. It's OFAC. And he knew that all along. And he knew that Shell wasn't signing. And Shell asked for 15 years. By the way, Shell asked for 15 years. And Biden, under Biden, they said no. So I don't know what this Dragonfield, everybody, now I've seen everybody writing about it. I've been talking about it for at least a year. And I've told them it's not the 30-year lease, it's the OFAC license, the amendment. So that is the position with Dragonfield.
Karen, just one last thing on the Dragon. With all that in mind, why did Trinidad make US $1 million in oil payments plus a confidential signing bonus for the Dragon gas deal? This is what Minister of Energy said, that they had paid $1 million. Right? Why would they do that, knowing that the possibility that it may not work out? Why spend?
Well, you could ask me that. I just told you what were the facts, you know. I didn't just make up that, you know. I got those facts from Reuters. I got those facts from the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, who got the facts from the Ministry of Energy. They said the source was the Ministry of Energy and Mining. When I went on their website, I couldn't get that information there, you know. I got it off the Central Bank. I cannot answer you that question.
So the minister didn't have that information to know that if you're going to pay out $1 million US, there's a possibility that there will be no return on the investment, on that investment.
Well, he had to have known that, because OFAC, as I told you, originally Biden, not Trump, Biden in February 2022 said no cash, because they tried their best to bring down Maduro. They did the maximum pressure thing to try and get the military to turn against him, and they didn't, you know. So they did everything they could. They said Guaido was the president, and he has disappeared into the horizon. And now they're saying Machado couldn't go up because the Supreme Court banned her. So this man called Gonzalez, and he said he had to flee Venezuela. I don't know why he did that, but I've been saying it all along, and I have never heard him contradict me. I have never heard him contradict me and say that what I am saying is wrong. I don't get those facts. I went to the OFAC site, you know. I go to Reuters, I go to Central Bank. You know, I go to respected sites for my information. You are the Minister of Energy. You have a whole set of professionals working there years and years and years. You're not telling me you don't know what you were doing. I don't know what you thought was going to happen with OFAC. I don't know what you thought was going to happen with Venezuela. Because right now, the other thing that happened, and the Prime Minister did not want to talk about it, was the SOFA. That is one of the about 5 agreements that CARICOM countries sign. And what it says for all of them, anyhow, is it gives immunity to members of the military if they're in your country. They are immune from any legal action. And that is true for all the CARICOM countries that have signed SOFA. But we had an amendment to our SOFA this year. And the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs did not let us know. It is under Biden administration, the embassy, I don't think they don't have a sitting ambassador, the council, I don't know what is the position. But anyhow, they sent it to the newspapers. And what we understand, when one of the reporters kept asking the Prime Minister, what is the amendment? He got so angry. I would not answer him. But what I understand, and what everyone understands, is that the amendment that was made was that Trinidad would allow United States to use Trinidad as where they can deploy troops or their airplanes or whatever it is, in case of a Venezuela conflict with Venezuela, which can very well come along because of what's going on with Venezuela and Guyana. And Guyana's already said that they want America's help. They've told Trump they want their help, right? And so that is what was the amendment, and he would not admit it. But that is what I understand, that was the amendment that he had to agree to, and that was when Biden was still in office. But I think when I say still in office, it's true. They do the election and wait about 3 months before you assume office. But anyhow, the point is that he got very angry with the reporter, and the reporter kept his calm and kept asking, and he would not answer. So that's one thing. That's the person he wanted to make prime minister, which we will talk about how he did that. So he's been a failure. He has been a failure in the petrochemical industry. They're producing 60% of the LNG that they need. Many of the large that produce methanol, the urea and so on, are not producing nearly anything like what they produce. In fact, with the methanol, they shut down the larger facility. I don't know if it's Titan or Atlas. One of them. And it's using just a smaller facility. A lot of the companies in the petrochemical, they are being mothballed. Why? They do not have the natural gas. Same thing with Nickel. Nickel got in trouble with their operations, but apart from anything else, they were saying that the government had said they were going to provide them with natural gas because that was what was necessary to change the fuel into a liquid state and take all the sulfur. So what I want to say is that's your minister, a failure as a minister of energy. When it comes to mining, disgraceful, because you have to get a license to mine. And I am taking this from the newspaper, The Guardian, to be specific, as well as the Express. And what they said, with the first instance, a judge gave a judgment against Mr. Warner, not Jack Warner from Tobago, who's his good friend, who has had to say
Alan
this.
Alan Warner.
The other Warner, who's his good friend.
Alan Warner.
Right.
Warner.
And the judges shut down the operations because he was mining illegally. He had no license to mine, removing aggregate, which is expensive, which you have to using in building. Shut it down, granted the injunction, and also said that they could not remove anything except their laptops, but no machinery equipment. You know what Mr. Minimi did? Mr. Young did? 2 weeks later, it was in the papers. 2 weeks later, he granted his Alan Warner's son a temporary license to mine that exact thing. That is an insult to the court. That is in following. It had to be following instructions. And what is going? And then the Guardian reported that Presticon is owned by Mr. Warner, I believe, and he's involved with providing cement for the an airport for 3 million people. When it's CSO, if you go to CSO, I'm telling you, you can go yourself and see it. I went and checked it. The number of visitors to Tobago, it doesn't go over 4,000 a year. And it's not a hotel building. It's an airport where people go in and out for 3 million people. What's the sense in that? I cannot understand it. But in any event, he was mining aggregate, etc., without a license because they checked it. and was using it. Apparently, they were saying, and the Presticon was nearby, so they assumed that is where it was going, and allowed to mine it without a license. That is the Minister of Energy and Mining that they want to make our Prime Minister. And the other one, because I want to stick with the energy, because these were the new issues. The one with the Dragon Field was the new issue. The other one was in relation to the
refinery, Oando. So,
right?
so Karen, 1 minute. I just want to put a comparison here. So we have Oando is the preferred bidder for the lease of the refinery. It's not, I don't think they want to sell the refinery anymore. It's not a lease. We have Oando, right? But we also have Oando involved in corruption, Petrojam involved in corruption, Jindal involved in corruption, and Hafed involved in corruption. And this government...
Hafed is who? You mean ANV drilling?
No, Hafed is the one with the agriculture out of...
So that was just doing with energy.
Right? So there are 4 companies that this government is dealing with that has been involved in corruption previously. But we know...
I want to be careful with that, huh?
Right.
You see, whenever I say something, I want to back it up.
No. I did the homework on
one of the names you called.
Hafed.
No, not the Hafed. I'm not talking about that one. Oando, yes. Jindal, yes. And then who is that?
Petrojam. The one in Jamaica.
That's the one I want to be a little careful about.
Well, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Why are you not careful?
Right,
Let me hear why you're not careful.
No, you don't have to be comment on that. I did the research on it. And
okay, how are you coming to that conclusion? Let me hear.
No, because Petrojam was involved in corruption in Jamaica, right? And they had to revamp their whole administration in Petrojam.
When was that?
Huh?
When was that?
I think 2019, 2020.
What is the corruption they were involved in? No, because you see, that's my thing, eh? I say something, what was the corruption they were involved in?
But listen to this, Karen. What I'm saying here is this. I'm saying is that we have the government of Trinidad and Tobago dealing with companies who have been involved in corruption. And there is a tie amongst here. So lately we have Oando, right? You know for a fact.
What is the issue with Oando?
Well, they were delisted from the Nigerian Stock Exchange and the South African Stock Exchange. And I can tell you from working on the New York Stock Exchange, to be delisted to be listed as a serious offense, right?
I'll tell you what it was, though. I'll tell you what it was, because I don't know if you know specifically. So that's what is. Well, I want to tie that in, please. If we deal with Oando, I want to tie that in with the procurement regulator, because they're both connected, and it goes to the government's lack of transparency, accountability, and one could question the trust and confidence you could put in them. Oando, there used to be, when oil prices went up very high in Nigeria, although they were producing oil, but still, it's because the international price had gone up. It went out to the reach of many of the Nigerians. The fuel, not the fuel. So what was happening was that a number of companies, and Oando was among those companies, that during the period, I think 2011 to 2016 is the period I think I got, what they were doing was importing fuel, refined, like how they see why they want a refinery, refined fuel, which the government at the time was subsidizing, and they were the beneficiaries of the subsidy. So whatever the fuel cost, the government subsidized it by paying these companies these fuel subsidy. And Oando was one of them, only to find out that if they were saying they were importing 53 million, I don't know how many barrels of fuel, they were actually importing about 31, all these companies. So they were defrauding the government, but in their money is not close to our money. Yeah? I mean, its value is not the same. But at the same point in time, they said 6.8 billion fuel subsidy fraud in Nigeria. The actual subsidy was $2.5 trillion, naira, 900% over the appropriated sum of 243 billion naira. So however you cut it, and they said those involved included Oando, oil, and two others who shared over 3.65 trillion naira between 2006 and 2011. So what are you doing dealing with this? And this is the point about procurement. Don't know if I said it on your show, but I got it from unassailable sources. Unassailable sources. And then there's an article that's in the papers that confirms what I'm about to say. The Procurement Act, when it was passed, it covered public goods and public services, but it did not cover disposal and sale of real estate. So they passed an amendment in 2016, 5 or 2016 or something like that, Section 58A, to include disposal and sale of real estate, and that would include the refinery. And the second part, 58.1, listed, and it would include the refinery based on the description. And the second part, 51 A2, said regulations would have to be passed. The regulation, this is what year are we in? This was 9 years ago. So they had a public, I have it right here. This year, took it down. They had a Parliament Public Accounts Enterprise Committee. And at that meeting, they asked the regulator, Ms. Khan, what was her role in the selection process for the refinery. But she did not have a role. She says, to be honest with you, I'm not sure what my role is. She does not have a role. And the reason is because the regulations were not enacted. And the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Finance said it is not true to say that we rejected the regulations. They just have not approved them. And that was 25th of January, I think, 25th of January this year. They have not approved the regulations. And because of that, the Office of the Procurement Regulator, which was set up for transparency, accountability, and value for money, did not participate in the selection of Oando, which has been taken off the stock exchange and been guilty of fuel subsidy fraud. And that is who you want. And then before that was Mr. Naveen Jindal. Naveen Jindal is facing charges of bribery and money laundering in relation to a coal block in India. And he's still under, the matter is still ongoing. And he got leave in 2023 to leave India for the first time. And your Prime Minister said, I took the headlines, your Prime Minister defends, the headline said, June 27, 2024, Rowley defends Jindal. And he said PNM doing the best it can for Trinidad and Tobago. Whilst it had been disclosed, I think the day before, that this man was involved and is being charged with fraud and money laundering. And when they put pressure, and he took a picture of this Naveen Jindal, who he invited from India to come to Trinidad because he showed an interest in the refinery, took a picture of him in the Prime Minister's residence, clearly showing that is who he wanted, until the mark bus, and then he said he wasn't aware. So that's Oando, that's Naveen Jindal, something not right. That's the procurement regulator not passing the regulations, and she said they didn't approve it yet. 9 years and you didn't approve it, right? And then you have the Dragon Field. You don't think, and then Petrojam. Now, this is the thing that people have asked. I heard what you said about the issue about them being corrupt, but what OWTU, and I won't call the name of the consultant because I don't know if they call his name in the article, but I know who it is, and he's well respected. And in fact, after he said what he said, the Prime Minister went after him, and he had to write an article to defend himself. So what he said, and which is so much nonsense, does Jamaica produce 1 ounce of crude? It has no crude oil, but they have a refinery. And that minister that's supposed to come be a prime minister, as one of the reasons for saying we close down a refinery is because we won't produce enough crude oil. But we have not been producing enough crude oil, even in Texaco days. We have been importing crude oil and refining it in this country. That's what you call a refinery. So the question, and they know why they're asking the questions, because they have not been answered. First question was asked. Yes, you got buying it straight from Petrojam to Trinidad. Yes, you're doing that. But what they have asked is a small refinery. and it's bunkering fuel, which boats use. And they asked them, number one, how much bunkering fuel does Petrojam produce per day? First question. Second question, of the bunkering fuel that Petrojam produces every day, how much is used for domestic purposes and how much for export? Third question, how much of that is available is exported to Trinidad? Because what is alleged is that, are we getting value for our money? And that is the answer that why not? Because the impression one gets, and that is what they are hinting at, is that there is a third party who is providing Petrojam with the bunkering fuel, which is selling directly to us. And you have to ask yourself, if that is true, why are we dealing with Petrojam? Why are we not dealing with the third party? How is it in our interest to pay? Because Petrojam has to be making money off of it. So why would you go to Petrojam and not go, so if there is a third party? Because those questions were asked because I suspect they know the answers to them. And so everything this government has been involved in the energy sector, and that prime minister in waiting has been involved in all of these things. The Oando thing, the procurement regulation, he wasn't passing the regulations, failure to pass the regulations to deal with real estate. The Jindal, well, that's probably the prime minister's thing, but he probably follows whatever the prime minister says he has to do. And then we have the Petrojam. And talking stupidness like we have a 50-year arrangement with Jamaica. So you need to go and sell out your country for that. And then say we do produce enough crude oil. We never did produce. That's why we have a refinery. How much crude oil Jamaica producing?
So Karen, I quickly want to get back to the we have Petrojam, we have Jindal, right, and we have Oando. And I'm just going to read this for you.
And Dragonfield.
Yeah, Dragonfield. This is from the Hindustan Times, December 2023. A day after the Anti-Corruption Bureau Canal Unit arrested 3 officials of Hafed. That is the company that Trinidad is doing not deal with in India with respect to agriculture.
Oh,
right? Because I know I did the homework on this one. And I am the one that broke the story with respect to corruption in India with Hafed. Let me read on quickly. With 3 officials of Hafed posted at Torori in a graft case and recovered 12.52 lakhs from them, the team seized a sum of 72 lakhs from a property of general manager on Saturday. ACB officials said that on Friday, GM Pradeep was caught red-handed while accepting 3.5 lakh bribe, and a sum of 5.6 lakh was recovered from his car, right? So this is all I'm saying is that this is a company that Trinidad and Tobago dealing with who are bribing people in India, right?
What year is that? What year are you reading from?
2023.
2023. That's just the other day.
That's just the other day. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying,
you know what I feel? It's either sheer incompetence, or they like to deal with certain types of companies, and then you have to ask yourself why.
But that's
why they like those companies. There's something about them that seem to be very attractive.
And Karen, that's why I'm making the analogy between Oando, Petrojam, who was involved. Was Ari Petrojam one here too? Because I am the one. I'm taking credit for it.
Take it.
I broke the story with corruption in Oando. I broke the story with Hafed as well, and corruption. Yeah. But if you notice, the Hafed thing gone very, very silent. You don't hear about that anymore. They go silent.
You look how I usually up to date with things, and I have to keep asking him who's happened.
Yeah, no, because I mean, you know the thing about it, Karen. People that say, "Oh God, he anti-PNM, you don't like the PNM." I like my country, and I want a transparency and accountability with the handling of the people's money in Trinidad and Tobago. That's all I'm doing. So, and you know what? Facts is facts. Like you come here and you bring your facts, right? I like to deal with facts because facts is a stubborn thing.
It's true.
You know? And a lot of people don't like facts. But Karen, another point, right? What about Mr. Stuart Young now being the anointed one as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Is that?
Yeah.
Is
Yes,
that?
we're going to deal with that.
Is that democracy?
Not. We know not. We know it's not. So I'm really glad that you are raising it, because it's a very important point. And I want to say, I understand there are people who feel strong loyalty to party, but you can't put a party in front of your country, because the people that will suffer, believe it or not, are your children. And if you are honest with yourself and take off the whatever blinkers you must be putting on to hide the truth from your own self, you will know that the persons who are the bottom of and I'm talking about in terms of numbers, they might as well be in colonial days. They might as well be in colonial days. And to see that many of our people have not progress is very worrying. A certain person who I don't particularly care for, I hope he's not watching this, but he's well known, and he was a minister at one time and in a number of positions, and very annoying actually. But anyway, be that as it may, he did say something, and I had to agree with him. He said, from the time of Eric Williams and every government, so he included the party that he's clearly supported, which was the UNC and COP or whatever, they have encouraged and nurtured a dependency syndrome. Because once I have you dependent on me, I don't have to worry that you're not going to vote for me. I don't have to care about you. And they treat these people as though they don't care. They give them a little something, CPEP work, a little URP work, put them on a little board that nobody knows about, give them a little, do a box train or something. And that thing is has a lot to do with the crime and what is going on in the country. But what it is a disservice to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, for you to accept that. Because you look around yourself, for yourself, and you will see the reality of Trinidad and Tobago. Of people who came here could not read or write. And I'm not talking about just one group. A lot of the other groups too came here, couldn't read or write. And look at where they are today. And look at where you still are. Where you still are. And then you are going to blindly go and support something that is destroying your children, your grandchildren, and the generations to come. How you could do that? How can you do that? It cannot be. You cannot allow them to treat you like that and have no regard. They'll have no regard for you. How you look at the Prime Minister taking an 87% increase in salary, and the President is the one who appoints the Commission for Salary Review Commission. And how could you accept him taking 1 million in back pay, 87,000, whatever that 87% increase, and they're telling you to your face, we don't have any money, and offered 0, 0, 0 to, I think, to TT or TNTech, and even the industrial court said they would not uphold that.
Karen,
and
I think it's about
get is 4%.
I think it's about 47% increase, and the salary is going to go to 87,000.
Thank you for the correction. But thank you very much. And what I'm saying is, but you won't even, you're telling them the most they could get is 4%. How you could feel right about that? That's what is, no, don't misread me, but I'm just saying that you are creating an environment where there is not a sustainable social economic equity in the country. And I'm sure we're all familiar with the thing that they said that Marie Antoinette, it was not her, it was Jacques Rousseau who said it. Let them eat cake. But then when they had the French Revolution, which they celebrate as Bastille Day, so they're very proud of themselves for it, they have attributed that let them eat cake to her. But it was Jean-Jacques Rousseau who was the one who said it, and then the French Revolution adopted it. Because if you have ever been to France and you have ever gone to the Palais de Versailles, you will be in shock, It is shocking. It is shocking. And then you see the pictures of the high walls, and they have winter. Children, people barely clothed, have their babies suckling on them, and they are starving. And these people are absolutely living in a world of champagne and caviar oblivious to the suffering of people as long as their business fixed. Now, Trinidad, unfortunately, you who sit there and empower them to treat you like that, you will get what you look for. You get what you look for. You cannot love a party more than you love your country and more than you love your children.
Karen, is interesting, right? There are people with questions in the chat, and we're gonna get to the question, but we're gonna get the questions after the top of the hour. But I just want to put this. I want to put this comment up in the chat and think about. And this is how certain people think, Karen. Certain people. I'm not gonna call. Anyway, the CEO of WASA is getting 100,000. So why not the PM? Think about this. You see that mindset?
You know why? I can give you the answer. Somebody said that Jesus Christ is one of the first politicians. When you enter into politics, it is almost vocational in nature. People who enter into politics, whether you think so or not, make a great sacrifice. Because you know why? If they're taking a chance, because many of them are not businessmen, and if they were businessmen and the party loses the next election where they're not getting any money. I had to leave Trinidad for 4 years and work at the University of West Indies because my daughter was still in school. In spite of the fact that you think that I got my money from Gulfview, they have not paid me a cent. So I am fighting them hard and they're refusing to pay me, but that's beside the point. People make tremendous sacrifices, but that's why in Singapore, which they always use as an example, in Singapore, the people who they choose are CEOs, top people who can run a ministry, can run an organization, and they take a 40% cut even to represent that what they're doing is giving service to their country. So a prime minister, and if that is what you don't understand, that is why they feel they can take anything they want and do whatever they want because they feel they are entitled. They are not entitled. I was a minister myself, and regardless of what anybody could say, I understood that I made a choice. I couldn't go back to the law school in Trinidad. I couldn't work in Trinidad. I had to go Barbados. And I know many of my colleagues, and that is a fact. Many of my colleagues lost their houses. Many of my colleagues had to sell their cars because they were blacklisted. You were blacklisted. You take a great risk when you go into politics, especially if you're not independently wealthy. So people who enter into politics, it's supposed to be a vocation. It's supposed to be a calling. It's a calling that you have to give service to your country. When you're a CEO of a WASA, you are a businessman. You are using your managerial and your CEO skills to turn a profit for an institution. You are not there doing service. You're not a priest. You're not a teacher, and you're not what a politician should be, giving service to the people. And that is why it is wrong and I should mention to you, in that salary review commission, they have they used the one in 1998, I think. And in chapter 2, they tell you what are the things the salary review commission should take into account in making recommendations for increases. And among the things that they say to take into account is the current economic and financial situation in the country at the time. So if they took that into account, they would have never made a recommendation. And secondly, they would also take into account the last time you got an increase. So they use this one, and I think the last time they got an increase was 2008, and they used one that was just about 5 years or 6 years. You know, many people have not gotten a salary increase since 2014, 2011, and Dr. Hossain of National Conversation and university professor, economist of Cambridge, has gone on record as saying as of 2015, and that was about 2 years ago, he said that the price of food has gone up by 43%, and your salary has not. Your purchasing power has been decreased. You're working for less than you were working for in 2014 because the cost of living has gone up and your salary has not. Meanwhile, the prime minister fixed himself, fix the president, fix who you had to fix, and then tell you
Stuart Young get fixed too, because if he served 1 day as prime minister,
that's it.
he gets the pension too. So exactly. He fixed too.
Yeah, and you know whose money that is? It's not their money, you know. It's taxpayers' money. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves. That is not about service of the country. That is not about service of the country. And he owned, his wife owned a set of townhouses in Tobago when I had that whole scandal. Every place I can't remember. And then you get the Ines Gate, and you get a good deduction as a gift from Ines Gate.
Just before we go to the break and we talk and we speaking about that.
Let's talk about the prime minister thing after them because it's a little more complicated if you do mind.
Yeah, but all right. So you know what? Here is a question, right? Someone says, Miss Karen, why haven't TNT moved away from Shell and looked for better negotiation companies? Is it that Shell company has a stipulation agreement before Trinidad got independence from the British? It has something to do with.
I don't think that is. I don't think that is. I don't think that is accurate. I think the fact of the matter, yes, Shell has a long history with Trinidad. It's a Dutch and English company. In fact, my father was a director of Shell Trinidad, so I might be a little biased in how I look at Shell. But no, I definitely don't look at it like the way. I mean, I'm a Trinidadian first, and obviously I look after our Trinidad and Tobago interests. But I think that Shell has been, and that's what their business is. Their business is oil and gas. And historically, it has been Texaco, which is, I think, American. It's been about 3 or 4 large companies who have always done business in Trinidad and Tobago in the oil sector. BPTT is another one. So I don't know that there's anything I could say specifically that would say why Shell. What Shell did, I believe it was Shell. They sold 4 or 5 of the mature gas fields to Perenco. And the reason they did that, because they said the cost of exploiting the natural gas that was still there because the mature was going to be too costly for Shell to take on. So what they did is sold it, but I don't know if they paid. I think Tony Paul, who is a consultant in the oil and gas business, said if you look at the Petroleum Act and other acts, that they should have paid to the government of Trinidad and Tobago the granting of their license to Perenco. And he's not sure that that was done, among other things that they don't do. That's what he had said. I hope I'm not misleading you. And Perenco now supplies Shell with that. But I can say maybe it is just the historical relationship between Trinidad and Shell. And I don't know anything. Maybe you know something that I don't know.
All right. So Karen, what we're gonna do, right? Let's take the break now. We're gonna come back, and there are some other things we want to discuss, and we also want to talk about what you are having on March the 12th.
Absolutely.
With NTA, CRM, and Hope, and also Karen. There is a question in the chat, but I'm waiting for that until after we come back. All right. So folks, we're gonna take that quick break. It's in the village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and Deputy Political Leader of Hope, Mrs. Karen Nunes, Tesheira, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. We'll be right back after this. Don't go nowhere.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
We are back with you. It's in the village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you, and Deputy Political Leader of Hope, Mrs. Karen Nunes, Tesheira, on WZYE 95.9 FM. Let me add Karen back in here. So Karen, let me pose this question for you, folks. Don't forget, and if you do have a question for Karen, you can also call.
Please ask it. I'll try my best to answer.
Yeah, if you have a question, call us at 973-868-1444, and you can ask Karen your question. So let me go here to the chat, Karen. This is a question here. We don't run away from questions here, Karen. We don't run away. Caribbean Soul says, Miss Karen, a question was asked to Timothy about Hope being in a position to choose who wins the general election. Timothy said he doesn't mind working with the PNM party as long as they accept Hope policies. What are your views on that?
Well, I did not hear the interview, but I know he did mention it to our executive that he had done, that person was saying, actually they said the opposite, you know. They were saying that he was joining up with the UNC because I think Kamla Persad had sent out an invitation, but we didn't go. Nobody from our party went because first of all, it came too late. And secondly, we weren't sure what was the purpose. I think what he's saying, and this is what we are saying to you, and when we start talking about the meeting on Wednesday coming at Mount Lambert, what we're saying to you is that we are focusing on certain constituencies, especially since both parties are both in the doghouse, really, because you speak to people, I mean, especially when I live in the north, so you usually would meet people who are PNM support, would have been PNM supporters. They are so disenchanted. So what we are saying is that we expect, and we are going to focus on, and we will mention the constituencies at the March Wednesday meeting, that we would want to win those constituencies because they are what you call marginal constituencies. And if NTA and Hope and CRN, and you don't know who else might join us, if we do not put up a candidate in that particular constituency, but the message is that if you vote for Hope, you're also voting for NTA and CRN. If you vote for NTA, you're also voting for Hope. So you are voting for the alliance, so that we don't want a vote to be wasted. We want to make sure that we win at least a certain number of seats, and in such a way that no one could form the government without Hope and NTA and the alliance. That is what we are saying. Because as it stands now I don't have I don't read tea leaves, I can't see, I have no crystal ball, but certainly from the 2020 election, one of the weakest and lowest turnout, 58 point something % was the turnout for the last national elections, even though the population would have grown somewhat from 2015. But anyway, in the last elections, you might be surprised that all the Digger Martin seats, for example, the turnout was in the 40-something percentile. The worst was Colin Imbert with 43%, and the Prime Minister, I think, 47%, and I think the Central, I always forget, I don't mean any insult to him, he's Minister of Communications, is in the 40-something percentile. And there are other seats, I don't know, I don't want to give away anything, but what we are saying is there's clearly opportunity for a third force, and coalitions are becoming the order of the day. I was telling Anselm before, because I had to address this issue previously, and an alliance is not a coalition. You could only talk about a coalition if you have won seats, and then you have a play. You are a party, or you are now have a place in the dance, so to speak. So the alliance is an alliance of common interests, and support each other, and so that given that support, that then we are able in certain marginal or other constituencies be able to win enough seats that no party can form election. Why we say that? Because in 2020, the PNM won 22 seats, and the UNC gained another seat, I think it was Mayaru, and was 19 seats. So it was 22-19. And then on top of that, we know that in the THA elections, it was a shock. I don't know, I cannot tell you what's going to happen, but certainly with the THA election, if you use that as any guide, most of the seats, I think 13 out of the 15, I don't know what they call it, can't call it a constituency, but the PNM was whitewashed completely. And the PNM has always said that they will not form a coalition with anyone. Well, that's Mr. Manning's position, so I cannot speak for the PNM of today. So I think what we are saying to the national community, do not lose faith, because we have people who are committed to the country. We have no reason to be doing this. And you could look at age, yes, but then, I guess you could look at Trump at 17. Well, I wouldn't want to use him as an example. I might want to not use him as an example, actually. No, Dr. Rowley, to be honest, from my point of view, anyhow. But with age comes experience. And there's no question, we all have experience at a certain level, and we all have a record of results oriented. I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but sometimes you got to do it. When I was Minister of Finance for the 2.5 years, there were only two of us as ministers. Before, it used to be four, and it used to be the Prime Minister was the Minister of. But in my constituency of Derby, O'Meara, when NACTA did a poll 2 weeks before the election, they said I had a whopping 98% approval rating, even higher than Jack Warner at 97%. And where the area that I mostly focused on was Karapu, because that was the most underserved and neglected part of the constituency. I did a tremendous amount of work. In fact, I have I wish I brought it out, but I got to bring them out. But I have, I would send out every few months an update to the national community, actual documents telling them what we had done in different parts of the constituency, giving them an update. So,
so Karen, here's my question, right?
Yes.
The goal, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. The goal is not to defeat the PNM, but to win more seats to help form the next government. As far as the alliance,
I wouldn't put it that way. I would not say it's to defeat anybody.
No, not to defeat. No. The goal is not to defeat the PNM, but to win seats to be part of having the say who's going to be the next government.
No, and not only that, the direction in which the country is going, because I think most people, whether they are diehard supporters of either party, are cynical, they are disenchanted. It's just that they either getting a benefit, and that eat a food thing that Kamla Persad said, it applies to all those CEOs, they might call it eat a food, but that's what it is. And some of them are seduced by being a chairman of a company. Some of them are seduced by sitting on and being a director of a company. It's amazing how people feel those things are so important. And what I am saying is, we are not saying to defeat anyone. Both of them are wanting. I mean, if I went through what they've done with the foreign exchange, it was I had the figures in front of me. 2015, it was 10.5 billion. In a few years' time, we're down to 5 something point something. That is how we earn. That is how we buy things. That's our balance of payment. That's what we use to buy the $7 billion worth of food that we imported into this country. Even the manufacturing sector, you see them growing corn anywhere, or red beans anywhere, or lentils anywhere, or black beans anywhere. Where you growing it? They don't grow any of those things. What they do is they bring it in and they can it, and the material to can it, they have to bring it in. So you have to have foreign exchange for everything. And we are in a position, you can go and look it up on Central Bank website. You can look it up yourself. We are now 5 point something billion from 10 point something billion just a few years ago. And not only are we in that position, what that Minister of Finance did, just imagine your father was running a business, right? And what he did is take out debt. He is keeping the country afloat with debt by floating bonds after bond after bond after bond on the international market. So what the economists have said, and I've gone on record, Dr. Arjun has said, I can say that for sure. I think I don't want to quote another economist, but all of them have said it. Basically, if you look at the amount of foreign exchange we have, and you look at how much debt that we have to pay back, because of the bonds have to be paid back when the bonds mature. And in the meantime, you have to pay interest every, a coupon rate every 6 months or so. And then when it matures, you have to pay back the full amount that you borrowed. And that is why Standard & Poor's and these people are so important, because when they rate your sovereign bonds, it is telling the world investors whether they should invest in you. The debt that we are carrying is almost equal to the amount of foreign exchange we had. So if we had to go back tomorrow and pay back the debt, we'd have nothing in our foreign exchange. And without foreign exchange, what are you buying? And all we do in our country is that the small percentage of them, all interested in is retail. Buy and sell, buy and sell. and have franchise, but they're not interested in producing. And no pressure was ever put on them by this government to let them step up to the plate, take some risk, and stop just sitting down there like merchants, buying and selling and paying people next to nothing kind of money, and the next to nothing kind of money, and your prime minister stand up there and say what's wrong with being rich and talk about trickle down theory of economics, which the Chicago boys and Friedman was talking about, which is a complete failure and was tested with Reaganomics, as you will know, and was tested with Thatcherism, a total failure because they do not reinvest. What they do, they take it and put it on the stock exchange, right? And that is why this government, or somebody, 2010, so it had to be the ex-government, I went to CSO and I asked them, why don't you include in your statistical information the Gini coefficient? And you know what that really means? They say that if you take the money that Trinidad makes and divide it by the whole population, the population would be working for $126,000 a year. We know that is not true. But if you use this thing called Gini coefficient that some man from Italy developed, that's why it's named after him, it will show you the spread of the income in our country, and you probably would end up with 3% owning nearly all the money in this country, and then the middle class shrinking because the cost of living is going up and the salary is not. And then the whole set of people, the man in the street, the rank and file, who go every year and vote them in, and do nothing for them. Look and see what their income is. What
you have a caller with a question for Karen. You have a question with a caller. What's your question for Karen?
Yeah, two-phase. First of all, Ms. Tesheira, good night.
Good night.
You're kind of low, you know.
Yeah, you're soft. You're not.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me better now?
Yeah, we hearing you better now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. First question. 2 parts. One is, do you expect to run? That's number one. Very simple question. Number two, what do you think if about Mr. Gary Griffith's role? Because I know the NT is part of your coalition, and if you are to form a government, most likely with the UNC, how do you figure that will factor? The last question that I'd like to ask, which is on different thing, is concerning, as the Minister of Finance, that imbroglio with Mr. Imbert. He's involved in everything, but on the 28th, the matter was dropped with Jaiwanti Ramdial. What would you want to do with Mr. Imbert concerning that matter as a lawyer and a former Minister of Finance?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that's about 3 questions.
Right. Do you expect to run first? Do you expect to run?
Well, I will leave it up to the selection committee, but I mean, I'm certainly a good few years younger than the Prime Minister, not much, but a few years younger, and I think, and certainly I've had the experience, and a cabinet experience, you can't beat that. And I have the love of the country. I have a love of Trinidad and Tobago. So if that is the will, and that is what I would do it, yes, I would. I don't know if my family would want me to do it. I don't think they would be so really want me to be so involved in the politics, but that's who I am. And the other question you also
Gary Griffith role. Gary Griffith role. Yeah.
Well, you see, the thing about it is that when you are in politics, you have to make decisions about the alliances that you are able to cultivate and be able to manage. And if you are on a common or present yourself as having the similar values and priorities as Hope does and CRN has, then we may have differences in approach, differences in personalities and how we present ourselves and other things. But if we can find a sufficient common ground, which I think we can, I think that we will be able to work. That is why we have the alliance in the first instance, because I think by ourselves and he by himself or anyone by themselves would not be able to make the kind of impact, and the electoral impact is all that matters. With regard to Colin Imbert, Well, you know exactly what Lady Simla said. Why are you not part of the Harris investigation? If I was a prime minister, well, the prime minister should be fired himself, because you're not going to tell me that when he was acting as prime minister, which would only be for a few days, he could take it upon himself to appoint a Harris investigation committee without the prime minister knowing. I mean, he's looking to get fired. And then even if he did that, certainly when the prime minister came back, he could have told him, no, I squash that. And that's the end of that. So the prime minister is also liable. And the fact of the matter is, it is clear to me, and it's really unfortunate that Mr. Imbert would do something like that. It just appears to me that the Constitution protected her from any interference by any person or any political, any political interference. So he couldn't, he was insulated in that regard. Also, under the Exchequer and Audit Act, I think Section 9 or whatever it is, says what is her role. I don't know why people vex with her. She was doing her job. She was doing her job. And she has to be satisfied that when you send the accounts for revenue, the public accounts of revenue, public accounts of expenditure, you must bring it, you must have documentary evidence or other evidence that satisfies the Auditor General. And clearly, the question Lady Simla asked and the Privy Council written decision already was asking, where did the mistake first originate? It originated at the Ministry of Finance, which is called the Treasury, who sent those documents over on the 31st of January to the Auditor General. You cannot tell the Auditor General, because you are Minister of Finance, you have to accept his word, then she doesn't have a job. She is there to protect us, protect the public purse. That is her job, and that is what she was doing. So when he could not, this is my view, and I think that's the view of many, so he decided to set up this Harris investigation. In terms of reference, even the Privy Council and the Court of Appeal said it was very clear that he had one thing in mind. He selected who were members of this investigation committee. He was responsible for the payment, and they had to report to him. And a number of things, but no mention about him and the mistake that he made, or his ministry made. Why are they not answering for their errors? And then I suppose he would have then taken the investigations findings, gone to the cabinet, and under section 139 or 136, one of them, I think it's 136 actually, they can now have a removal of public officers. And I think 136.11 actually mentions one of those public officers, the Auditor General. And the reasons are, anything to do with dishonesty or any other cause. What does any other cause mean? So it was clear to the Privy Council that is what he was trying to do. And they asked him, why are you not part of it? So if I was inside there and I was Prime Minister, I am telling you that would not have happened. It would not have happened. And he would either have to say adios, and I would say adios to him too. Because I would not know that.
But Karen, think about this, right? Here we have the Privy Council telling us why he's not being investigated, or asking the question.
Asking the
question. We have the case or whatever, the inquiry or whatever being dropped, but yet the minister is still running for Diego Martin Northeast.
But what are you worrying about that? And Robinson Regis take with the credit card, with all kind of things she put on the government credit card, which I know.
Accountability.
And $148,000 she took in cash and moved from one bank to the next, when all you had to do was write do a bank draft. How that was sounding right to you? I mean, when you have and all the things I just said about Minister Young going on CNN and saying Train One still alive, and then giving a license to the Prime Minister's good friend after the court shut down that Waterloo that area where they were taking out aggregate. How he's still there? And he's still the Minister of Energy, and having Wando and Jindal. Who is he? Is he the Minister of Energy, or is he just there to take instruction? Because I will tell you, and this is the truth, I was given what I was supposed to do, but the Prime Minister, only once he ever asked me to do something, and I said no, and that was the end of that. Never heard about it again. I wasn't going to do it anyhow. So anyhow, but the point I'm making is that I don't want to be too harsh, but the fact, in law, which he's a lawyer like myself, there's a saying, res ipsa loquitur. Facts speak for themselves. And I think the facts speak for themselves.
So
you're getting another Rowley. And if you didn't like Rowley, you ain't going to like him.
And hope.
Did the opposition leader get fixed too? I mean, I don't understand.
I think they were talking about, when we were talking about the salary review commission.
Oh, yes, she got. Yes. And that's why people criticized her, because she said, what do you want me to do? Want me to do? I mean, is the salary review commission paid it? I mean, what you want me to do? That's the loss. What you want me to do? No?
Go ahead for me.
What could I say?
Karen, good evening again.
Uh-huh.
Now, elections coming, and hope is very hopeful, as we all know, because Mr. Hamel Smith was here and he told us about the meeting on the 12th.
Yes.
I saw that the opposition leader was invited to the meeting and she declined.
Yes.
Citing Mr. Griffith's involvement as a no-no.
Yes.
Now, the meeting is going to take place, and hopefully Hope will do something spectacular when the election comes around.
We're hoping.
How do you think that the opposition leader should be dealt with in that instance when that happens?
But the thing about it, and I genuinely mean this, I genuinely mean this. You can't go into politics and get personal. You see, I don't want to talk about the American president. Next thing, they take away my visa. But, can't be personalizing things. You have to look at the country's interests. The country, when that invitation was extended to the opposition leader, because obviously it was done in order to say all parties are invited. It was not, we did not expect her to accept the invitation, but we certainly wanted not to exclude her, because it would then be like you're fighting everybody. We're not fighting everybody, we're fighting for the country. And at the end of the day, it is our objective, and this is what I want the country to understand. Our coalitions are the order of the day. 130 countries have coalitions. Only 80 countries do not have. Most European countries, the most recent one is ANC with South Africa after 3 decades. And then Germany the other day. Well, I wasn't too happy about that one, but the fact is it happened. So coalitions are the order of the day. And in Trinidad and Tobago, to be fair, we have in our constitution, as we inherited from England, first past the post. It really is an unfair system in a country like ours, where the ethnic groups and religious groups are almost equally divided. Maybe not as I know, especially with ethnic and religious, not the same thing, but they're Hindus and Muslims and Christians. So our situation is far more complex. So the first past the post is a kind of, because what it does really, it shuts out half of the country. And unfortunately, it's along ethnic lines. That cannot be right for the country. So until we get proportional representation, is accepted, and coalitions become the order of the day, which it will have to happen in Trinidad. Until that happens, we consider having a third force of people like Timothy Hammersmith, who is experiencing. What is he doing it for? What is his objective? What is my objective? What is Louis Leesling's objective? And if people say we also experienced, and that kind of job, that kind of position, I'm telling you, you need people not only with the degrees, which all of us have, or some qualification. You don't need only that, but you also need someone who you put them in that seat, and at least the majority of them are able to run a ministry from the get-go, because they have run huge organizations before, and therefore they know what to do. And that's the problem with Trinidad. We took this Westminster model, and the Working Committee spoke about it and said, In England, there are 650 MPs. Well, of course, that's both Conservative and Labour. But in cabinet positions, only 21 or 22, I think. That means that MPs are free to criticize their prime ministers, and also the party is able to choose the best of the best among its MPs. In Trinidad and Tobago, if you are MP and you win the election, it's probably about 21, 22 people will make up the majority. Many of them do not have that. I'm not saying they're not intelligent, but to take on the responsibility of running a ministry, which is like running a huge organization, you need to have that experience. That is what Singapore has, and that's what Singapore requires. And unfortunately, that cannot always be said. Sometimes the MPs could be good councillors, good aldermen, good mayors. I'm not saying it's not good, because you need them to work with the people. That's what you need. But when you want someone to run efficiency and you want to run an organization, which a ministry is, you need people with experience. So you want a judicious mix of experience and younger persons and a successorship plan. Not that you are going to choose that person, those persons will emerge on their own accord if you do it the right way, which the Prime Minister did not.
We had a caller, but the caller hung up. Caller.
Sorry.
Caller had a question for you, but the caller gone. Go ahead.
Karen, Singapore is referred to very often, but their watchwords are taken very seriously, which is pragmatism and meritocracy. And they make sure that they stick to their guns. What can be done with Trinidad and Tobago that we can enforce when it comes to a plan as to what our watchwords should be? We have them. What's that? We have something from Eric Williams.
Discipline, tolerance, and production.
Yeah, discipline, tolerance, and production, which has gone through the window and never to come back again.
Well, I think that's a function of the world we're living in today too, and even the social media. Sometimes I see advertisements on television, which I'm quite surprised, where they actually say that you get phones that don't have any social media or WhatsApp, because they're putting these young children, a lot of them suffering from depression. You see how many of them on drugs, and serious drugs, not just marijuana or what. I'm downplaying it, but I'm saying things like meth and really serious drugs. So I think it's a combination of the world we're living in. We've become really a global village in a sense, and that's part of the problem. And the quality of your leadership. If your leaders behave in a crass and vulgar way that I have seen them behave and talk in a way that I don't think we have ever experienced before, I don't know what is their inspiration. But that certainly is not setting the right tone. And then when it comes to the selection of your MPs, I think the important thing is ability to run, and then you also have the senators that you can choose from. But you should put that front center, and also they must have a love of the people. If they're there and want to be CEO of WASA or CEO of TNTech or whatever, well, they're business people. But if they want to be in a minister in our government, you have to and that's what Mr. Mann used to always tell me, always say that to me. You have to love the people.
Karen, there was a question. Karen, realistically, do you think that Hope NT Alliance can win a seat when the general election is called?
Well, if we didn't think so, we wouldn't do it, would we? Right? So the fact of the matter is, we're not going to be the armchair critics, because I do understand, by the way, why many people do not say anything, do not come to meetings, won't come to meetings, because they will lose their job, they'll get blacklisted, they pay a price, and many of them work in the government or whatever it is. So if we didn't think that but it's the people that will make that decision. The people are the ones that have the power, and the people have to think of their children and their grandchildren, what kind of country they want them to inherit. And we think we are a third force that can negotiate. Certainly, Timothy Hammersmith can. I think my experience as a minister of government, and certainly dealing with things like CLF and TTRA and TTIFC and all of the things that, as well as being an MP, has really kind of a way prepared you for what government is like, and that's what you need. And we hope to be. Is Mrs. Jerry is 2.6 billion missing? I don't know that is
Aaron, before you address that, let me take this caller question because he had called.
But I wanted to deal with the Prime Minister's selection. We didn't deal with that, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with that
before I leave.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with that after. Caller, what's your question for Ms. Karen Nunes, Tesheira?
Mr. Washington Kotomi and Ms. Karen. So my first question is, what about hope policies? And between PNM and UNC, they do want NTA. Will hope abandon NTA and go with these parties, with these two parties? My other question
is, who will abandon who?
Caller, 1 minute. Will hope abandon who?
NTA.
No, we're not going to do that. You know, how many times you heard? I don't want to call the names of people, but
Karen, hold 1 minute. Karen, hold 1 minute. Karen, hold 1 minute. Let me get his last question. Will hope abandon NTA? Go ahead. What's your last question?
Right. And my other question is, what are the policies? Because we keep
okay, that's a good question.
Policies that we want to offer, but it's not just about the party accepting her policies. It's about the supporters who support these parties. We want to hear what her policies also.
Okay. Good.
Okay, that's a very, very, very good question, the second question, because I think the major criticism we can make about the PNM government is the lack of implementation. They talk a talk, but I can give you so many examples. The National Statistical Institute, the Gambling Commission, what has gone on in the providing the national security with the requisite not only the requisite equipment, but maintenance of that equipment, also to the transfer pricing. There's also campaign financing. There's also having an economic advisory board that has statutory powers. And there are a number of things that this government, the ballistics and DNA testing, I have the figures from 2022, 44,000 and 33,000 backlog with the DNA and ballistics. So you can't even set a data bank for it. There are so many things that this government has failed in. So what is Hope going to do? We started first a 180-day plan. And the 180-day plan is to deal with the two main issues that we deal with is the economy and crime. But the most important thing is we are not people who are just talking the talk, you know. We have a record of performance. Louis Lissing started Talk Radio 102 and then 95.5. Timothy Hammersmith is the head of one of the biggest corporate law firms in Trinidad and Tobago, has negotiated huge transactions. I have written 3 legal texts. I didn't have to get promotion. I did not have to. And they're still being used at the law schools and by private practitioners, especially one on probate. I've written 3 legal texts. I have also been the Minister of Finance. I have also been a senior lecturer, and you call me vice principal of the Heward Law School. And I just could go on. What I'm showing you is we are not just talkers. When I was in government, when I was in government, one of the first legislation I passed was the Financial Institutions Act, which had CLF in tailspin because they would now have to file consolidated accounts, which is what the governor wanted to have. The credit union legislation, we had the credit union legislation set to the cabinet. Though I have to say I had excellent staff. The governor was very supportive, and because he had worked with the IMF helped us in drafting the credit union legislation. We also got the person who is now the head of the Law Commission, who was working with the BVI and did over all their legislation. We brought him in as a consultant working with us. When it came to the TTIFC, the gentleman who worked on the TTIFC in Ireland, PwC, had been employed at PwC, was actually in my office drafting the legislation for the TTRA. But of course, the global financial crisis came. Lehman Brothers had signed an MOU with us, and they obviously were one of the big companies that went under. We were also dealing with the TTRA, the TTIFC, the FIU. I mean, and the unfortunate one, the property tax, I have to say that, but we were looking more at transformation and putting everything on computerizing. So we would, and then we had the self-financial crisis. So whatever anybody could say, when we left in 2010 and when we had made that announcement, There was no run on Republic Bank, in which 51% was owned by CL Financial. There was no run on CLEICO. There was no run on Call Fire. There was no run on any company, which you cannot say for many, even European countries who had to go run into the IMF for the first time. Now, when we left in 2010, in May 2010, I cannot speak for what the governments did after that. But when I was the minister up there, I worked with the governor. And we produced the Bob Lindquist report. Before I left office, the Bob Lindquist report was already completed and sent to the DPP, and the governor is on record as saying he used the Bob Lindquist report in order to bring civil action against Montai and Mr. Dupree. So those are some of the things that we did. Now, what you're asking, Hope is going to do. So I'm showing we have a record of implementation, which this government cannot speak to. No finance, campaign financing. They take so long to deal with procurement legislation. They have not done anything with the Economic Advisory Board, dismantled in a matter of few days. So what are we going to do? What we promised to do is the gun court. Just like what Jamaica has, we call it the firearms court. So I understand that every gun has a serial number and you have to have it licensed. So if a person is found with a gun, and they check to see whether this is licensed and it is not licensed, the burden of proof is on them. There's no jury. There's no preliminary inquiry. If you have an unlicensed gun, like what they have in Jamaica with their gun court, you would then have facing a minimum sentence of 15 years to clear us of all these guns that are on the streets that are responsible for most of the murders. That's one. Secondly, the campaign financing legislation is sitting down in the Joint Select Committee. The campaign financing legislation, which is very much like the Jamaican legislation, where you have a registrar of parties and a whole set of regulatory provisions to make sure that there's parity and fairness, especially disclosure of your financing a party and what are the rules. That is something we have committed to. Another thing we have committed to, again, which Jamaica has already done, is we do not want just an economic advisory board that fell apart in a matter of months because I guess Mr. Imbert didn't feel he needed their advice. But in Jamaica, what they have is the government, when it presents a budget, must set out the fiscal policy or the fiscal rules, the tax rules, how they're going to be running the country when dealing with things like inflation, debt management, and so on, and set out their plan, as well as the macroeconomic plan for the year. And this act, which they were supposed to have proclaimed on January this year, I had it in front of me, but I'm not finding it right now. But anyway, the act is an act that sets up this commission. And this commission is independent of the government. It is funded by the parliament, and it has committees, and they will then monitor the performance of the government in terms of debt, inflation, all the measures to show whether you have a healthy government. Just like how you go to the doctor to find out whether you're sick or healthy, they look at certain things, your heart, whatever, that they'll be monitoring them, and twice a year reporting to the parliament whether in fact the government has followed through with its fiscal policy that it set out at the beginning of the year and its macroeconomic policy. So they are keeping their feet to the fire. They can't force the government because it's a minister of finance, but they can report, and it's a statutory body that is independent of the government. We intend to put that in place. Also, the DPP, give him the staff that he needs. The man is understaffed, and set up a special fraud division, which they have in England, but it will come under the DPP, that is really going to be dealing with the money laundering, and this gambling that these private members clubs are operating under, given license to effectively run casinos in this country, and everybody knows that's a form of money laundering. Set up a special fraud department similar to England, coming under the umbrella of the DPP. Those are some of the things that we're also going through. One other thing in terms of education I can remember off the bat, because it was knowledgeable, new to me, and it's actually Timothy Amesford actually had done research on it. He had said, we have the early childhood care centers, and we start teaching the children, preparing them to go into primary school. He said, but studies have shown from the top institutions that between 0 and 3, the neurons or whatever, the billions of them are connecting in a period between the 0 to 3. And therefore, that is the most critical time in a child's, preparing a child's neurological abilities as that 0 to 3. So he is recommended not only the government, but NGOs get involved in that. So that is some of the things that we have said that we'll do. And also to, of course, I'm very strong on this. The ballistics and the DNA testing. The last time I had gotten the figures in September 2022, 44,000, 33,000 backlog in DNA testing and ballistic testing. That is shameful. And telling us the Chinese going to build a forensic center somewhere in St. Joseph. In what, after the next 5 years, after how many other people die? Set up, bring in people. You can bring in people. It's worth it to us. Bring in people and set up a special lab or whatever it is that they deal with the backlog, and that's what they're there to do. And train our people, train the trainers, train our people to take over, and their job is to deal with the backlog. Other thing I would recommend with remand, there are thousands of people sitting down in remand. I actually had the figures in front of me. You'll be surprised. That case with Achille Charles, his name is, when the bail case came up. It spent 7 years in remand, waiting. Remand means you have not determined whether you should be stand trial, You waiting to find out that, After that young man spent 7 years of his life for, I think it was murder or something like that. When the chief magistrate, all that debacle with the chief magistrate, they had to appoint an acting chief magistrate, and they had to start all the cases that she was hearing de novo, afresh. So he spent another 2 years, and at the end of those 2 years, the acting chief magistrate said that the police did not have enough evidence or information for him to stand trial. So that man lost at least 7 years of his life waiting to find out if he was going to be tried for something, and they said that there was no sufficient evidence to charge him. So those are the areas. I think we should have a special court, a remand court, to deal with the backlog, because somebody making money off of them remand, people sitting on remand, somebody feeding them, you have to employ it. So we have to look at our national security bill. The $500,000 a month, they paid somebody to oversee the refinery for the last how many years? You know what, $500,000 a month? That is what we're doing. So we are going to be very, I gave you the campaign financing, setting up an economic advisory commission, similar to what they have in Jamaica. They have an excellent model with that. We are going to deal with a firearms court. We're going to give the DPP more staff and set up a special fraud division dealing with white-collar crime. That is in the first, and also the DNA and ballistic testing, and I would add remand. And that is the things that that we are people who are committed to working and to making it happen. And
so let's go to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister issue that we want to address before we leave tonight. So
yeah, that really is important.
Address that first.
Okay, so this is it. It is very much against anything that stands for democracy, because when he was Prime Minister, and he did a amendment to the party constitution, he introduced the one man, one vote, and also the power of veto, which the political leader enjoyed. I took that away. And he also said at the same time, if you are not in the favor of the political leader, you have a very hard road to climb, very hard hill to climb. So what is wrong with what he has done? What he has done is foisted Mr. Young on the population of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not on the party of the PNM, because he's not making him a minister in the government. He's making him the Prime Minister of the country of Trinidad and Tobago. And what is wrong with that? The political leader position does not come up for re-election until 2026. But under the Constitution, I think it's clause 19, you can call a special convention. And what the Prime Minister should have done is call a special convention, step down as political leader and let the party membership of 130,000 decide who they want as their party leader, because whoever is your party leader is going to generally be your prime minister. Let the party decide who they want to take them into an election and eventually become prime minister. But he did not do that. What he did, he retained the position of party leader, because as the party leader, he very well knows, I was in government, I understand this much, that if you don't want, first of all, if he had done that, I'm pretty certain that Stuart Young would not have been chosen. I'm pretty certain. And I'm pretty certain the prime minister knew that. And that's why he went around a very undemocratic way, a very, what would I call it? It's not only undemocratic, a dictatorial way to force on the country his choice, and he must know why. He wants somebody who will follow his lead and do what he wants. And you know he did a bad job. You know what people think of him. We know that people feel that he was at the beck and call of a few percent in this country, and the rest went to suffer. He said nothing wrong with being rich. That's what he said. So he stayed on as party leader. And why did he stay on as party leader? Because he wants to choose, have the final say, and the chairman is Stuart Young, and the secretary's comments. He wants to choose who is going up for the different constituencies as political leader. But what he should have done, call a special convention and let the people of the party decide who they wanted to be the leader. And it wasn't going to be Stuart Young. If he wanted democracy, that is what he would have done. So that's the first thing he did wrong. Next thing that he did, which was wrong, taking that picture as if everybody was in support of Stuart Young. And then you hear, when they have the general council meeting, you have people like Robert LeHunt and Jennifer Batiste saying that this is not what is it? You are monarchy. This is not a monarchy. You don't anoint anybody. This is a democracy. You cannot choose who you want. So then he was forced to go to the general council to ratify the decision that he said that the ministers had agreed to, the members of parliament. And when you heard that what came out, the bacchanal you heard that came out of there, I've heard it from at least 3 or 4 people how he got on bad. And they said, and first of all, they wanted to, and they reported this, and I think it was Ramdas. I hope I didn't say the wrong person. They wanted you to have a show of hands. They said, no, secret. And it said 9 against and 11 for. But I've heard that is not even correct. I heard that is not even correct, and 1 abstention. So the fact is, it was not a unanimous decision for him to become the political leader. That is for sure. So why is everybody staying quiet? Everybody's staying quiet because one thing about Rowley, he's an astute politician, a terrible leader, but an astute politician. After 30 years, you better be. So what he's doing is, by staying as the political leader, he's shutting up any kind of dissent. Because if people say or talk and say they don't want Stuart Young, he would then make sure that person does not run in a constituency. He probably cannot do that with Colin Imbert. He wouldn't dare do that with him for whatever reason. I know. He might not do that with Penny because he might lose the election with that. And he couldn't do that with Cummins. So that's 3 people he wouldn't take that risk with. But the rest of them, he put in people there because he still has not called the election bell. So even though he's going to resign as prime minister on March the 16th or whatever date it is, he will still be a member of parliament and continue in that position, although somebody else is running in that constituency, until the elections are ended and we know what the results are. So what he has done, when you see nobody saying it, I don't know what is happening, but when you see nobody saying anything, don't take that to mean anything, because what it means is that they very well know that the section 76A1 of our constitution, not the constitution of the PNM, the constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, says where an occasion arises that there is a vacancy in the position of prime minister, the president shall appoint as prime minister the leader in the house that has the support of the majority of the house. That is what 1A says. Martin Daly has written a whole column on that. And then the next week he wrote a piece of it, sending a cautionary note to the president. And you know what he told her? He said, please do not find yourself in the position of Paula May Weeks. When she left her office, not in a way that she should have wanted to, when that whole debacle with the position of the police commissioner taking back the list, and then you hear it was the prime minister in the room. So she had no authority under section 123 of the 2006 amendment. Once it was handed to her, she was to prepare the notification for Parliament. She had already said she's a creature of statute and must operate within the 4 wards. So once that list, the merit list, was handed to her, she could not have it immediately withdrawn, whatever that means. She couldn't hand it back, right? So he said, don't get yourself in that, He said, make sure that when you get a letter to say they support Stuart Young to be the leader of the House, that there's no post-dated, undated, pre-dated kind of letter, Don't destroy your reputation, your legacy like that. So what I am saying, why is the Prime Minister and still call the shots now? Because he has not called the elections, so therefore he's still a minister, MP, and he's still the political leader. So he still can say, hey, you don't want Stuart Young? Well, you're not going in any constituency, so you're not going to be in the House. Because if you were to vote against Stuart, I'm not going to put you there. So, but after the elections is over, he will, unless he goes and does Eric Williams and say, you know what, I changed my mind. I think I want to be an MP still. But he ain't going to be prime minister again, because I'm sure the people will not vote for him. You notice anybody celebrate him leaving? Nobody celebrates. You're not hearing a word. You should have big thing. Please, Prime Minister, don't go. We want you. Nobody you're hearing that from. It's complete silence. So what he's concerned about, what he should be concerned about, is after the elections, when in the event that the PNM has a majority, which will probably be a very slim majority, because you don't even know what Tobago will do, but still they may win still. It is only after he resigns as MP, only when he resigns as MP, that at that point in time, and the elections has been ended and you declared which party won, it is only then that the vacancy will arise, and it's only after that that people could sign a letter saying who they want. And so that's why Martin Daly warned the president, do not get yourself in anything signing a post-dated, undated letter. So at that point in time, what control will he have? He's not MP, he's not prime minister, and at that point in time, if 3 of them, based on the election, if 3 of them say, we do not support Young, what can you do? And what can you do? And I know some of them not going to sit down there and just shut up, because Rowley will no longer have any power over them and not have any more power over them. And they will say that they were coerced into doing that, because if they did not do that, they would not have been chosen to be an MP. And he had held that over their head, and that's why he did not resign as political leader. He's so undemocratic, he's so unfair, and he's so selfish. Does not care one thing about the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It's a little percent of people that he's been serving, as far as people can see, because I don't see the rank and file who support him. They're still down at the bottom of the barrel. And those who came here and others who came here, they're the ones, money can't done. They can't have enough house, can't have enough car, can't have enough anything. They have generational upon generational wealth. How you can feel good that that is what you did in 10 years?
Karen, I only wanted to spend 2 minutes on this, because we only have about 7 minutes. Listen to this. We only have about...
You made to talk passionate things.
No, listen. I wanted to address this, Karen, because I wanted to read on the screen. Miss Lady, because they've been putting up these comments all the time, and I just wanted to put it to rest again. Miss Lady, you took out your money before CLEICO went under. You had inside information. I don't want you to go into the long...
Number one, the EFPA, whatever they call it, which is the 10%. I got CLEICO to write a letter. They wrote it, and they did exhaustive research thing. I never had it. My husband never had it. My children never had it. What you are talking about is CLEICO Investment Bank. And if when they say I took out my money, who would give me that information? It would have to be somebody inside of CLEICO, CIB, somebody inside of CLEICO Investment Bank that would have had to tell me that. And the way that I have dealt with CLEICO Investment Bank and CLEICO, when they came, and the Prime Minister gave me no instructions, came to me on the Friday when I was supposed to meet with them and wanted the government to just give them money. I said, no, we're not doing that. You have to give us a guarantee, and we need to put assets to back the money that the taxpayers given you. You think there are people who were not treated as well, and they know who they are. They know who they are. And they were the ones who started that. And if it was true, would you not think by now, number one, I would shut up my mouth and not say anything against the PNM government, because they will have that over my head to shut my mouth up. And secondly, if it were true, why don't they bring the person to say that who it is that told me directly or indirectly? Because I do know that they had a company set up as a marketing company that was an investigation company to find out who in CIB told me. What you should ask yourself, what I think that I didn't fully appreciate, the reason that CIB was going under was most of the investment in CIB was in state enterprises like Unit Trust, NIB, National Gas Company. That is where billions of our dollars were invested, and they were being paid huge dividends. I did not handle the state enterprises. I did not deal with the state enterprises. What I did say is that permanent deputy must go to all of these meetings and report. What I did say is that if anything is untoward occurring in any of the state enterprises, I need to be told. I was told nothing. I never knew, number one, that the product that they had because it's a family-owned company. You do not give it on the stock exchange, and like I was working there. My husband died in 2004. I had nothing to do with CLEICO. They treat me bad. So when it happened in the end of 2000, which was a global financial crisis, so these companies, which I did not know at the time, and in the room was Permanent Secretary Alison Lewis, and in the room was the governor of the central bank, and in the room was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and I am in the room, and I turned to the Prime Minister and said, Prime Minister, about 2 weeks ago, I took out my money out of CIB, and he didn't tell me anything, and I said it in front of Alison Lewis. Let us say I am lying. Let the governor say that I'm lying, and that I did not know that NGC and all those UTC and all of them said that they were not reinvesting. And I won't call the name of the person because I like the person, so I wouldn't want to call the name of the person. The person went to a certain individual to say if they could get the Prime Minister, the government to reinvest in CLEICO Investment Bank as it was going to collapse. I knew nothing. And when we had that meeting that day, when the governor told me that he had gotten a letter from Lawrence Supre, on that day of that meeting is when I found out what had happened, and I was never told a word. I did not know. And that responsibility is state enterprises. The vision of state enterprises should have or had to have known what was going on, and that they had said that they were not putting back their money. And CIB went begging a certain individual to try and persuade the Prime Minister, because they thought I had no power and I just there for I don't know what, for them to put back money. The Prime Minister gave me no instructions. I didn't know any of that. I was not even told. He went to the Permanent Secretary and told her, and I said, why did you tell me? He couldn't even answer why he didn't tell me. But I did not know. And ask the person, ask all of them if I am telling the truth. Ask all of them if I'm telling the truth. Ask the people who are at the top of CIB if I'm telling the truth. Because I have to be a mad person to be criticizing the government as harshly as I do, defending myself as I do, and saying, bring out the person, bring him on the payment. 10 years now, you can't bring out a person. 10 years now, you won't publish a commission of inquiry in the CL Financial. What? Why? I am telling you to do it because you're lying, and you know you are lying. And there are certain people who are protecting themselves and making me take the fall. Why don't we find out from state enterprises if they knew what was going on, and ask them if they ever told the Minister of Finance what was happening? Why don't you ask them? Why don't you ask the permanent secretary what happened in that meeting? Why don't you ask the governor of the central bank what happened in the meeting when I told the prime minister that I took out my money and I said, and at that time there was no run. I didn't even know that. All I knew was a global financial crisis and CIB was in trouble long time ago, the way they were being mismanaged. And then you ask those people who shut up and have made me take the fall for all these years. I'm not taking it anymore. I am not taking it anymore. Let them say, if anything I have said is not true, let them say, I challenge them. They know who it is. I call it a thing. Let them say if I am telling a lie.
Karen, we're going to leave it there, Karen. We are ending on that note where you have laid it out for the people and you're telling them, listen, I mean, I work at the New York Stock Exchange. And if it had anything to do with insider trading, it is easy to prove because somebody had to tell somebody. And if you can't find the person who supports
10 years
was to tell you, you know it's fiction.
And not only that, if I had done what they said I did, I have to be mad to criticize them because they will right now, one of the people they probably hate the most is me because they will make it in business to make sure they destroy me and bring out the person who told me. But they have other people they need to ask those questions. Who knew that NGC, NIB, and them had said that they were not putting back their money? Who knew that? And who didn't tell me?
Karen, you are innocent. Karen, you are innocent. And if I go Tommy say so, it's so.
Yes, because you know why, Tommy, you know why? Because of calling names and of calling titles and ask any of them, Mr. Manning is not there to talk, but all of them, ask them and let them say if I am lying.
Karen, stay right there. We're going to go for a quick break. We'll be right back, folks.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Back with you. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, Hope Deputy Political Leader Mrs. Karen Nunes, Tesheira, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. Karen, let me say this.
Well, can I just say something? Tommy, I truly appreciate what you said because I don't believe you would say it if you were not convinced that I was speaking the truth because I call in names and I said ask them.
But Karen, let me say this. You know, Karen, people that say Wall Street is a Karen defender. You know, or she don't defending Karen Nunes Tesheira all the time. Even though she's a definitely political leader, in hope to defending her. Karen, I dealt with insider trading. And in insider trading, it is trading on non-public information. Somebody will give you the information or pass the information on to you in order for you to trade on that non-public information. And
but I know what they mean, though. They don't really mean insider trading like on the stock exchange. But I know what they mean. Like somebody told me and a
well, somebody who told you keep it silent for 10 years. And you are telling the people, you are telling them, listen, tell them I tell Karen. I am the one that told Karen. And
yes, tell them. Nobody. I begging them to tell them. Yes, and then I also want them to, you see the names I call? And the titles I call, ask who knew and I did not know. That's the point because I could see somebody saying she had to know because if Unit Trust, NGC, and all these big enterprises, state enterprises had put NIB had put billions of dollars into CLEICO Investment Bank. And remember, Montai was a former treasurer of the PNM, right? And I was in a PNM government. So if that was what was happening, and they turned around and they said it was a 3, I didn't even know when I was told by the governor, asked him, I didn't even know what he was talking about. I teach in the law school. My husband is dead. I have nothing to do with CLEICO. They treat me so bad. But anyhow, the point is that you have to ask, it's understandable if people will say how she said she didn't know when a lot of the investment that was keeping CIB propped up came from state enterprises. So she's the Minister of Finance, and state enterprises, she's corporation sole. So state enterprises is part of her portfolio. But what I am trying to say, and you can understand what I am saying, I did not know, because the state enterprises component, I was relying on that information being given to me. And if they didn't know, maybe they didn't know. It's hard to understand, but maybe they did not know. But certainly no one told me.
So Karen, Ulrich is saying, yes, you are a Karen.
You are a Karen defender.
And call a quick question for Karen. Short question.
I don't want to, as a lawyer, he will let his must prove. 10 years is enough. Preponderance of evidence with matters of civil issues concerning that. My quick question is, banks have made 4.73 billion with a B as of reported. There is a great disparity with the interest rate spread, especially on US dollars. Trinidad has low rates. How do you, as a member of HOPE and a former finance minister, to actually deal with that mismatch? Because I think it's
Caller, I don't mean to cut you, but we have
kept. What he's asking, he's talking about the 3.50 interest rate that the
Karen,
bank charges.
That might take a little while to answer.
No, but okay, I'll give him a simple thing though.
Yeah,
when you have the interest rate low, it really says that if you had it high, it's because there's too much money in the system, and you want to pull out money out of the system by charging higher interest rates. So when the bank charges this 3.50 interest rate, which is the overnight lending rate for banks and thing, it sets the standard by which the commercial banks should charge, and they have kept it at this rate. So when the feds in the United States are giving an interest rate of 5% and we are giving a return on 3.5, many people are going to invest in the United States rather than here. But it is really a function that the inflation rate is a stagflation, is 0.something percent, because nothing is happening in the economy, and it's reflected in the rate which of 3.50, because there's no liquidity, no set of money circulated in the system that they have to mop up, because it's going to cause inflation.
All right, there you go. So folks, put your closing comments in the chat and send your closing voice notes. Karen, I want to thank you again, because this is the platform, Karen, where you speak truth to power. You're telling people like it is. Some people may not like. Some people may want to hear something different, a different outcome. True. But the evidence doesn't prove the outcome that they want.
That's true.
Right? The evidence does not prove the outcome. And you have made it plain and clear. Listen, if you guys have evidence, take it to whoever. Simple. Just take it.
And all the names I call, ask them if I lied about anything I said. Only person who can say is Mr. Manning.
So Karen, any closing comments before you go?
No,
but Karen, just tell us quickly about the 12th. Tell us quickly about the 12th. What you have
God, that is going to be a wonderful moment, and we are depending on you all to come out in your numbers, because if you really, really care about Trinidad and Tobago, and you really feel that there's need for a third force, and we are committed to you, you have to show the parties that are in power that this is a party to contend with, and people will have confidence that we can make a difference. In other words, our motto now is no party can run this country without the alliance. And our interest is the interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Take my word, our interest is your interest, and we are not going to just talk the talk, we are going to walk it. You have our commitment to that, and we want you to commit yourself to real change, and don't just, I understand why you can't come out and say what you want in public, but you are the ones that can make a change for this country, and we're relying on you to come out in your numbers. If you need a maxi taxi, get in touch with the HOPE number that is there, or you could go up on their website, and we will make a maxi taxi available, because we want you to come out in your numbers and send a message to those who feel that they could treat you how they want, because you have to vote for them. Let them know that there is a change, and a change is coming, and we are there to be the beginning of a change for a new order, then we don't want to stay. We want to just lead for a while and hand over. I could tell you that for sure. I have grandchildren, I love plenty, and I would like to spend more time with them.
Karen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Anselm, for allowing me to have this platform. And don't worry with them, they say he defended me. He defended the truth.
Welcome.
All right, take care.
Go on.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. So there you have it, folks. Tommy.
Yes,
Tommy.
sir.
Ulrich gain on my case. Ulrich says as a Karen defender. Tommy. Anyway, folks, send your closing comment. Wait. No, look, Ulrich. Answer, it's unfair that you didn't take all and read the text messages. Ulrich, there was so much. Tommy, didn't we say we were taking calls?
We did too. But there's only so much one can do.
Ulrich, don't worry yourself. We go bring you back for you just to take your call, Ulrich. We go bring you back for just to take your call. Don't worry yourself. Yeah, Caribbean Soul, thanks a lot again. Eh? Join us on Sunday for Let's Talk Politics till Wall Street, Uncle Tommy and you.
Thank you so.
Yeah. So, folks, we went to the top of the hour, right, Tommy?
Yeah, we've been past the top of the hour.
We didn't do it?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Thank you. Let me give my closing quote. So, folks, we want to thank you so very much. And I mean, here's a place for everybody. We can't get to all the questions, but we ask questions. Okay, and we ask hard questions because people thought we were gonna actually CLEICO question, Tommy. Right? People was putting it in there, people were putting it in there, and we asked the question. So that's how we just do it in here. So let me get my closing quote. This is my closing quote, folks. Here we go.
Good morning, God. Today is Thursday, March 6th, and my heart rises in gratitude as I feel your restoring touch awakening my soul. Your presence surrounds me like a divine breath that renews my strength and prepares me to live another day in your company. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege of life and for every opportunity you place in my path. Your love is the foundation that supports my journey, and your grace guides me on paths of peace. Lead my steps, illuminate my thoughts, and strengthen my spirit to face challenges with faith and courage. May your peace fill my being, and may I reflect your light in every action. Bless my family, those I love, and all who need a miracle. May I be an instrument of your love, bringing hope, comfort, and joy where there is pain and sadness. May your mercy extend to all, touching hearts and transforming lives. I entrust this day into your hands, Father, knowing that every moment will be cared for by you. May my heart overflow with gratitude, and may my life reflect your goodness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
From where I said this is it, the clock on the wall said that's all. I like to say what I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent. When talent does not work hard, and for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. Remember, your circumstances may determine who you are, but you are responsible for who you become. Go ahead, Tommy.
My first one is from James Baldwin. He says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. Like I always say, you have to become that change you want to see. However, if you look in that mirror and you don't like what you see, you cannot blame the mirror. Never look down on a person unless you give them a hand up. Love you all. Be safe. Until Sunday, love you all. Be safe. Good night.
Okay, let me see closing comments on the on WhatsApp here. No, not that one. This one. Okay. Okay, well, God, I fall long on the job there, but there we go.
My closing comments. Well, I sent some questions, but I guess that's how the thing goes sometime. I didn't see it coming for answers, but that's all right. Disappointed, but not surprised. and people could get in over and over. That's okay. Everybody have their preference. My wife don't like black eye. I love black eye peas. Yeah? But I don't cook it just because of her. I'll buy it outside. Yeah. So we're talking about, this new party, Hope, and she's saying that, coalition, but you ain't decide to go with the UNC, you decide to own your own thing and then to invite the UNC to come. That fair to the UNC? Eh? The UNC here so long. Making a nuisance of themselves, yes, but they're here for a while. You just come, but they must come by you. I could understand Miss Bissessar and them turning down that. You understand? And I hope you are conscious of the fact that they used to jam you, hitting you for 6. And it was with the PNM, you take the money, you understand, because you got inside information. They used to be jamming you. When you come out now and you're jamming the party that you were in, hey boy, they want to make you queen. They want to make you queen. And that is what happens with who we described as the haters. The haters, the mudslingers, anybody. That's what they used to say. Anybody for the PNM. So anybody jamming, hitting, we ain't care about it. And the thing that I like to talk about and I like to listen to hear people talk about is corruption. Jindal, Bungal, Langal, Lizal, corruption and corruption. We only deal with corruption. And some of the people who talking that, quoting from the book of Dotuishness, is the same people who have no problem with a man who won $1 million bail for corruption. They have no problem with that. They ain't talking about that at all. They're going quite India, Africa, Australia, Guinea-Bissau, Yugoslavia. They're going all over the world. All right? And research and fact and right here, a man gave over $100,000 just so. Well, that's how it seemed to us. I don't think it's just so. But there are no problem with that. Okay, go on, just have a good night, folks.
Okay, Caribbean Soul says, closing comment, if the path is beautiful, don't ask where it leads. Banwari Kasik says, closing comments, when UNC wins, everyone wins. And that is it, folks. There you have it. I don't see any other closing comment. Okay, folks, there we go. We are out of here. See you. Same WZY time, same WZY channel. Later. Well, I want to play this one, man. I like this one. We out of here. Later.
Queens, what on the feeling? Yes. Hear the cries in the streets at night. So many dreams gone out like light. Youths them caught in a system cold, chasing shadows that take their soul. But the rhythm of hope is strong. Beat the guide us along. Plant the seed of change in the ground. And reap the fruits of love from this song. I'm sure we can rise from the shadows as we shine. Through the pain and the sorrows, leave the darkness behind. Rise again. the cleansing begin. What are you doing? Hear me? For the common man, times well hard. Crime and murders driving we mad. And the youths them can't find no work, cause the system take them for joke. Let the positive find control. We must not lose sight of our goal. In spite the stress and the strain, let us build our country again. I'm sure we can rise from the shadows as we shine. Through the pain and the sorrows, leave the darkness behind. For the youth and the future, let the healing begin. In the rhythm of the island, let love pull us in. So come from the dust till dawn, as we rise up every morn. We'll fly to the skies like this. Our people will rise again. And it's always sad. Everyone just play their part. Man, woman, and child come in. Let the cleansing begin. Everybody wave your hands like this. What are you doing? Who's the answer? Hear it. Politicians drive their nice car, while the poor man mighty thinker. The oil money blowing like dust. The people don't know who to trust. But every crisis we will master and rise to triumph from disaster. We will cast the evil away. We make a solemn pledge here today. I'm sure we can rise from the shadows as we shine. Through the pain and the sorrows, leave the darkness behind. For the youth and the future, let the healing begin. In the rhythm of the island, let love pull us in. So come from the dust till dawn, as we rise up every morn. We'll fly to the skies like this. Our people will rise again. And it's how it starts. Everyone can play their part. Man, woman, and child, let the cleansing begin. From the ghetto I born and grow, I learned to make joy from sorrow. Even though it was hardship and pain, I see the blessings falling like rain. And every time the setbacks would come, I keep the faith and weather the storm. With every step and toil I strive, just to keep my dreams alive. I'm sure we can rise from the shadows as we shine. Through the pain and the sorrows, leave the darkness behind. For the youth and the future, let the healing begin. In the rhythm of the island, let love pull us in. So come from the dust till dawn, as we rise up every morn. We'll fly to the skies like this. Our people will rise again. Hand in hand is how it starts. Everyone can play their part. Man, woman, and child, let the cleansing begin. What are you doing? Everyone, we fly to the skies like this. Our people will rise. Thank you much. Reach for Savannah. I love all you. Everyone, we fly to the skies like red. Our people will rise again. Hand in hand, it's always done. Everyone can play their part. Man, woman,